my boy is hurting.
I tried to do it easy. I thought it was going to be some slight, one shot for a sub. They can donate $1 to the cash shop. I take a sip. Yeah, my community said, "Oh, bet how many sips for a shot?" I was like, I don't know. My shot glass yay high. I guess 5 sips will equal a shot for me.
Mm-hmm.
Bet $10 here, $10 here, 25 here, 25 here. I'm like, oh yeah, this is.
Oh boy, it got a little tricky, huh?
Oh my god. I was literally, it got so bad. I'm literally like praying. I'm like, yo, look, Big G,
I ain't gonna make it.
Look, man, I don't do this often. Please, I'm calling on you. Just make it stop. I can't take this.
The money is good, but I ain't gonna make it. But I ain't gonna make it.
Man,
sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for, Damo. If you started it, they finished it.
If we keep this up, I ain't gonna make it.
I ain't even think they was gonna go that crazy. They was waiting for that one.
Mars, how you doing this morning, man? Before I know where you want to jump back to 1970 already. I want let's say good morning to everybody first. Good morning to the chat. Good morning to Damo. Good morning to Chill.
Mars Blackman in the house.
Hello.
Damo in the house. Tony Tone in the house. What up?
Mars is so lucky. What time is it there, Mars?
It don't matter what time it is, Mars, because if I see another one of them cups of latte, I'm telling you, Tone, it's gonna be you and me. I'm telling you, Tone. I'm not gonna say it too many more times. It's gonna be you and me, brother. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Do you know how this started? Do you want to know how this started? I'm gonna tell you how it started. I started getting grays, and I saw that commercial that George Clooney did for these Nespressos, and I'm like, well, maybe if I drink some of these. It did not work, though. It did not work.
No, it didn't. You got to embrace it, Tone. No. You heard Mars. Mars refuses to embrace a world without an old Chill. He don't know young Chill, so he's not embracing the young Chill. If old Chill ain't there, he ain't involved in it. He don't want nothing to do with it.
Hey, listen, I have a speaking of old Chill. I don't know if I should star in this movie or you should, but we're putting together an idea for a movie called Rookie 5-0. It's about a 50-year-old who tries to get into the league and works out, tries out. You want to be in it?
No.
Rookie 5-0. Would you watch that though? You'd watch that movie though, right?
No, I wouldn't.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it. I'd 100% watch it.
Tell you, Rookie 5-0.
My game is so whack today.
I'm just declaring myself for the NBA draft 2024.
My game is so whack today, it ain't even funny.
I'm declaring myself for the draft. I'm telling you right now. Next year, you'll see on my tagline, it'll say NBA free agent because I doubt anyone's going to draft me. So that's coming. Watch for that soon. No joke. Mars, I believe you made Chill do some homework. That's a big thing.
We had a good conversation. It was about Moses Malone and Tim Duncan. I know Chill has Tim Duncan over Moses, but it was a good conversation, just talking about Moses Malone's game and how impactful he was in the 80s and what he did for Philly and Houston. It was a very good conversation. I enjoyed it a lot.
It wasn't smoke, Tone. It wasn't anything like that. But I had done some homework, and when you see numbers immediately, without bringing any context to it, you see numbers, you start to think, wow, this was incredible. So, for example, Moses had a 7-year history where he averaged 15 rebounds for 7 straight years. Of them 7 years, Mars, he averaged 6 offensive rebounds. Now, immediately when you hear that, you think, well, he was getting all of these buckets. That's almost 12 points a game on putbacks. Well, wait a minute. Now, if you expand on that a little bit, well, how many of those were actual putbacks? How many of those were actual grabbing the ball off the rim, kicking it out, them resetting the offense, dumping it back down to him? How many of that stuff was him grabbing the rebound, kicking it out to somebody, and them getting the shot? For the majority of the time, and we talked about this, they were running the offense through Moses. And Moses did a lot of the dirty work where he was getting the ball off the backboard, putting it back up. But what I don't want Moses to be known for is a rebound merchant. And we know who rebound merchants are. And Moses was not that. You know, Moses was a guy who you could dump the ball into in the post. And you could go to him for buckets. He just wasn't a guy who was just throwing the ball up against the backboard, going up and getting it and just putting it back in. That wasn't who he was. He was definitely a little bit more than that. He was a guy that you could throw the ball into the post. He made post moves. In fact, Olajuwon, learned a lot of what he learned from Moses. Same thing with Barkley. Learned a lot of what he learned from Moses. But I do have Tim Duncan over Moses. I think the defensive gap isn't close, to be honest with you. I think he was better than above average. I think he had a couple of elite seasons as a defender, but I think Tim Duncan did it longer. I think Tim Duncan was a little more versatile. And the rebounding margin, I'm not going to say it was as far with Tim Duncan in terms of defenders as it is with Moses, but I think Tim Duncan is a lot better rebounder than people give him credit for. A lot better.
So let's pause there for a second because I got questions. First of all, congratulations. I heard Damo 200K. That's what's up. Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah.
Congrats.
On YouTube?
Yeah, our podcast hit 200K.
Nice.
It's a big shout.
Yeah.
Can't talk with him. But hold on. You said Moses was not a rebound merchant?
No,
this is the same guy who said he'll put it off the glass and get better position and rebound it to himself. He'll throw it off the glass, counts as a rebound to get better positioning.
That doesn't necessarily make you a rebound merchant. Just because I'm throwing it off the glass.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding the definition of merchant.
They call that stat padding where I'm from.
Oh, is that stat padding? Oh, okay. So he's not a merchant, he's a stat padding.
So just to throw the ball off the backboard to get better positioning, that doesn't mean I'm doing that every time. I might do something different in terms of defense to put myself in a better position. That doesn't mean that I'm doing it all the time. So he couldn't do that against like Olajuwon. He couldn't do that against Jabbar. He couldn't do that against Ewing, but he could do that against James Donaldson from Dallas. So there's certain guys that you could take advantage of like that. There's certain guys that
don't you sleep on James Donaldson.
Yeah, break with James Donaldson.
Got 5 blocks yesterday when I played my son in 2K.
There's certain guys that you could do that against, just like there's certain guards that Jordan played different against. There's certain power forwards that Malone played different against. So Malone would be able to take advantage of guys who he knew couldn't block him out, as opposed to of Olajuwon or Mark Eaton, where he knew, when I get on the block with Mark Eaton, I can't just bully my way down there and get all the rebounds because that's not going to happen with him. I got to be able to score in different ways against him, and I got to be able to rebound differently against him. And I can't just get offensive rebounds and just go right back up against Mark Eaton because he'll continue to smack my shot into the third row. So I got to reposition myself, throw the ball back out to the perimeter, maybe get deeper into the post where they'll throw it to me. So stuff like that, as opposed to being a rebound merchant where I'm just up, and no, it was a little bit more than that.
But from the sound of it, I'm not gonna say he's a rebound merchant, but it definitely sounds real stat patty if you pick and chose when you would goose your rebound numbers up. If you knew I was playing Luke Longley, I could bully Luke Longley. Let me get these 15 offensive rebounds. So I could just put it back up because Luke not going to do nothing. But if I know I got Olajuwon right here, if I know I got Mark Eaton right here, I'm going to get this one board and I'm going to go back up with it. That sounds a lot more stat patty than anything.
Well, here's the thing though, Damo. If that's with him, wouldn't that be the case with a whole bunch of other like guards in the game? Because I'm 100% confident that guys like Kobe Bryant, guys like LeBron James, scorers like Damian Lillard knew that if I'm going up against X tonight, I'm going to be able to get better shots, which means I'll be able to take more shots, as opposed to if I'm going up against Russell Westbrook, I'm going up against a defensive guard like Chris Paul. I got to pick and choose where I'm going to score the basketball because I'm probably not going to get the quality of shots that I'm going to be able to get against him that I would get against, I don't know, Ish Smith, right? Or somebody like that. So if that's stat padding, I think that just about everybody in the league stat pads at some point because everybody doesn't play the same against everybody.
Fair.
So, and Mars, does that, I don't know what the actual, was there an argument, disagree? Does that answer your, whatever it is, that discussion that you guys were having?
I mean, I think it's more just giving Moses his flowers for how good he was because I was a bit dismissive of his overall, I guess, offensive impact beyond the rebounds. Which I didn't mean to do. Like I wasn't trying to just dismiss him as some.
You said he's the worst MVP in NBA history.
Worst multiple time MVP.
Worst multiple time.
And that doesn't include Bob Pettit.
But you also have him.
But it does include Steve Nash though.
Yeah, it does include Steve Nash. I think Steve Nash at his best was better than Moses at his best, and I still believe that. But Moses Malone did.
So on your all-time list, you got Nash over Moses?
Well, my all-time like greatest list, I'd probably favor Moses because I think his longevity was better. But if you ask me who peaked higher, like if you said give me Nash in 07 versus Moses in what would you
81,
say is 81, 82, one of those years, I would take Nash in 07 over the best year of Moses, me personally. That's what I mean when I say he's the worst multiple time MVP winner. At his
which
peak,
is fair.
I think he's worse than everyone who won multiple MVPs, which is no slight because the only people who won multiple MVPs are some of the best players to ever exist, and that power forward in Utah, who I'm not going to talk about. But so I don't try to like be dismissed. I do think like if you have him like top 15, I think you're probably overrating him. But I do think he's like a top 25 player of all time. But his like the more I go back and watch Moses, it's just he's very like compared to every other big man, like
Awkward.
he's just very
Awkward,
he's just very unorthodox. Yeah, it's like I'm watching him. I'm seeing a guy who gets to the free throw line a lot, but it's not because like he's a master at drawing fouls. They just foul him after he gets offensive rebounds. I'm like, this is something you haven't really seen before. It's just very weird just watching him play. And he did develop a post game, especially like his last few years in Houston and then in Philly. And he had a little face up game. I'm like, okay, that's nice. He was also a very good free throw shooter as well for a big man, which he doesn't get enough credit for. He was very good at just making his free throws. But for me, when I have a guy who is that high volume offensively, I don't think like he wasn't like Hakeem where you're giving him the ball every possession, go get a bucket. It was like we can allow guys to take shots because we know Moses can clean up. And that's extremely valuable to me. If you give guys more confidence to take shots because they're like, even if I miss, Moses is going to be there to clean it up for us. I think that's very valuable and that fits with a lot of different like teams and situations. But I think if you start running an offense through Moses Malone and then you start seeing Moses Malone get double teamed and then you see that he can't pass the ball very well, I think the ceiling of an offense with Moses Malone as like the focal point, I don't think it's as high as a lot of other guys, which is why I'm probably lower on him. And then you said defensively, you think he had a few elite seasons. I'm probably not as high on his defense as that. I think he was good for a few years, especially in Houston. I think he was better than he was in Philly. Like he was a good shot blocker, and I value rebounds as a part of defense. So I'm going to give him a lot of credit for his defensive rebounding. But I do think sometimes he was just a bit slow on his feet. I think overall sometimes his awareness wasn't great. He was great against bigs who also weren't very mobile because like, he was just very big and strong and he could just stand you up and keep you in front in the post. But if you had any sort of level of agility to you, Moses Malone wasn't as great of a defender as guys who I think I would hold in the elite standard. So I think maybe that's why I'm probably overall lower on him than a lot of people because when I watch him, I'm just seeing a very bad passer. Like the only big man passer who I think might be worse than him might be Patrick Ewing. Like it's between those two. Those two are just really bad. And then I see the post game is good, but it's not all time great. Then I see the offensive rebounding is just top tier. Right. And then defense is just good, but not great. I'm like, this overall to me doesn't equal all-time top 20 player. So that's
to put some context to it. So we'll start with the 83 season when he was on that Philly team that won 65 games. Well, he was a beneficiary of a really good defensive team. I mean, Bobby Jones was an all-league defender. Maurice Cheeks, one of the better point guards and defenders in the game. Now, when you're talking about one-on-one defense, again, guys played primarily on the box. So you don't see today what you see back then, where you see big men stepping out 15, 20 feet from the basket and handling the basketball. No, my primary job was to be on the box. So Moses did a great job at that. In addition to rebounding the basketball, because again, like you, I hold rebounding in a very high regard. If you can hold the team to one shot, I mean, that's great defense in addition to stopping a guy from scoring the basketball. So Moses did do that. Now in 82, I'm sorry, when he won the league MVP, that team wasn't very good. I don't even think they made. I think they made the playoffs, but they got knocked out.
Yeah, they lost in round 1 to Seattle.
Yeah, they got knocked out. They got knocked out in the first round. Moses was their anchor defensively, unfortunately, because they didn't really have anybody else. I think he averaged 14 rebounds that year, and of those 14 rebounds that he averaged, I think 8 or 9 of them were defensive rebounds. And again, we're not talking about big guys who were as mobile. Keep saying moms who was mobile as they were back then. So when you're talking about today's big man, for that time, Moses was an elite defender for that short period of time. So Mike, we may look at a guy like DeAndre Jordan, who was a first team all-league defender, the rim protection that he was that he was able to provide for the Clippers, the rebounding that he was able to provide for the Clippers, the stuff that he was able to do that because you had a lot of not just rim runners, but you had a lot of guys who were flying through the air. That wasn't really going on that much back in the 80s. So the rim protection primarily came from the big guy going up against the big guy. I mean, guys like Doc were far and few between.
Yeah, I might be a bit low. I might be a bit lower in his defense. Maybe if I watch some more, I might be a bit higher.
Right.
So now you're encouraging me to do some more homework myself. So
that's all.
Oh, there you go. Yes, go do some homework on Moses Malone, the first to stack the deck to win a chip. We got some special guests in the building. FYF Sports, SB Talk Sports, Ace 30 have all jumped in. Do you guys want to chime in on this Moses Malone, whatever this was, or do you want to get into who gained the most?
I already got to take on Moses Malone.
Oh, give us your take because I wasn't sure if you were doing this because you didn't like.
The thing is with Moses Malone, this is the thing you got to do with Moses Malone. Y'all got to stop telling people to go back and watch, because when you tell people to go back and watch, especially young people in particular, right? What they're gonna end up doing is, without trying to, they're gonna end up comparing his game to what they see today.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you can easily walk away and say, "Oh, this dude looks like a hyperactive Andre Drummond."
That's what I was going to say.
And the game was just played different back then. So what I'd like to do is look at his numbers, look at his accolades, and just understand, back in that time, you're not winning multiple MVPs if you're just a scrub. Mm-hmm. You have to have some skill. It don't look the greatest, right? He looks like the dude with the black Air Forces on at the park sometimes, right? That's how he. But at the end of the day, it got the job done, and statistically, he was putting up numbers, and it led to some winning ultimately. So, I mean, I think it's a combination of two problems. Young people, especially if you don't know how to kind of contextualize what you're seeing, they're gonna look at them wrong, and they're gonna misjudge them. And then older people are always going to say, go back and watch the film. And when you go back and watch the film, it just don't compare or look like what we see today. So it's a combination of two things going wrong. But he was a good player in his time. I hate the hypotheticals, trying to put him in this era. And, it's impossible. That's why I tell people, and people get mad at me when I say to figure it out on 2K, because that's really the only place you're going to see Moses Malone playing in today's game. So, I mean, if you figure it out, simulate that on 2K, man. But he was great in his time, man. I like what he did.
You said 2K, and I said something about my son earlier today. So you think James Donaldson of the Mavs would put up 5 blocks, 20 rebounds, and 20 points?
I don't know James Donaldson last night. I don't know James Donaldson.
He was the starting 5-man on that was the team that they couldn't get past. They were a championship contender.
But what I'm saying, all I'm saying is the optics, the look.
Yeah, I know. I hear what you're saying. So okay, so let me chime in
right,
and say, go. I disagree with you on this. Go back and watch the tape if you have the ability to put it into context versus that era and what they were being asked to do. If you don't have that, then I agree with you. Don't go watch and say like, oh man, he doesn't compare to Jokic. He couldn't pass. Well, duh.
It looks ugly. Like his game is ugly. Like
that's very much like what he just got finished talking about. Because who we talking about, FY? We talking about kids, 19, 18, 22-year-old kids, right? Mm-hmm. So if you tell me at 16 years old, go back and watch Elgin Baylor. I'm like, I don't need to go back and watch Elgin Baylor. Dominique Wilkins would have kicked his ass. That's of course until I went and just did some homework and got some numbers, and I was like, wait a minute, Elgin Baylor was nice as hell. Yeah, I gotta even if I didn't see any film on him, I'm like, wait a minute, 38 and 18. What the hell? And he's playing in the NBA.
I love it. He gets killed. I love it.
I think the problem
is because he has no rings. That's
salute everybody.
It's because he lost all those finals, and as soon as he left, they won. That's what really did it for me.
Yeah. Salute everybody. Salute Fluent. Salute Mars. He talks about strangers, and I talk to you all the time. OG know me. Don, it's our first time meeting. Salute to you, brother. Mars know me. I be cooking him all the time. He know. But I think the problem that we do have though is we do look at everything from the scope of today, And that's the problem, because we got to look at it for what it is. You got to go look at the tape for what it is. You're not going to go see, even with some of the greats like Will Chamberlain, who scores a lot of buckets. He don't look as good as like certain players is today. The skill set is just higher. So when you go back and watch the film, you got to assess the game for what it was. We can't compare even like movies from back in the days to anything. It's not the same. Nothing's going to be the same. So when you go back and watch it, Moses Malone, he did his thing. He was dominant. Multiple time MVP, put up numbers. He was a champion. You got to respect that aspect of it. Of course, if you're just looking at from the eye test, the candy look of the game, then of course you're not going to be satisfied. But if you look at, that's why the resume do come into play and accolades do come into play. So they give you a glimpse of like, okay, what type of work did he do? Well, his stat numbers show what type of productivity did he do on the court, and that's what we have to look at sometimes. But obviously, like you said, young people like the game that looks better.
But see,
that's the problem we have, though.
But hold on a second. But if you go back and watch Elgin, you're going to see a guy who's one of the first to have a pull-up jumper, the first to do a Euro step. You see Wilt, you're going to see a guy who could turn around and hit a fadeaway. Yeah. So I think you're going to see a lot, because people think Wilt was just dunking on everybody, but he wasn't. He actually had a finesse game. So that's why I struggle when you guys say don't watch. You got to watch, because you're going to actually be impressed. But the problem is, you see a guy like, I don't know, what is it, Bob Cousy, who's dribbling like this, and you're like, he can't dribble. Well, no, he was only allowed to dribble on the top of the ball. So you have to understand that he couldn't put his hand on the side, because that would have been called a carry. So I feel like education is key. Education is key for me. Sturdy, you got it. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, me and Mars had our first discussion in regards to labeling Moses the worst multi-time MVP in regards to pairing him to Nash. And we both came to a common ground. Like, when you go back and watch these players, you have to fully contextualize the rules, the style of play, and the particular what type of trend the NBA was going into. So for me, when I go back and watch Moses, the game was predicated around the paint, and because even though the 3-point line was introduced later in his prime, the teams was essentially emphasizing that part of the game. So while also taking account, while I go back and watch these players, is the level of innovation. At the end of the day, players can't control what era they play in, what rules they play under, but they can control the level of imagination that they develop in their move sets in regards to their impact towards winning. So that's why I do have Moses in my top 15, because when you take a team 40 and 42 and to the finals, that means something. And on that route, you beat the Lakers, that means something. And to me, like, I think Moses is one of the most underrated players of all time, because he's not visually appealing to the average player, because he's not his majority of his peak and prime is not so much televised. That's why when it comes to certain players like that, you going to get so much film on them, but people think there's other empirical evidence besides film and just the box score that you can understand these players. And I think understanding what Moses tried to do, the level of innovation he did have, to me, when you say Moses getting an offensive rebound to reestablish position, I seen T-Mac do that. I seen Kobe Bryant do that, and they got applauded for their level of innovation. So why is it any different from Moses? So I just think you gotta take all those things in common, especially when you try to evaluate players past pre-1985, because that's when it's really get hard to find full games for most of those players like that.
Yeah, but now when that was to double down on what Sturdy said, where the problem do come in at, and what everybody do contradict is, I would say the older generation kind of overhyped the stories. So when we do go back, we expect to see something so amazing, and it's not as good as we thought it was. Like, perfect example, how people overhyped the Magic Johnson playing center when he really just tipped the ball off and just played the same game that he was playing. It wasn't like he didn't really play center. So Magic Johnson,
Mars already. I already debunked Mars with that silly logic. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I didn't rewatch that game.
I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link.
No, I rewatched. This is how I know. Every time during the offseason, imagine, I work the studio station downtown. We got NBA TV. They play the old school games all the time. I done watched that game like 2, 3, 4 multiple times all the time. He did not actually play. Magic tipped off and played his role the regular way. Did he get a couple more post work? Yes, but he still ran the offense. He wasn't the center. But how y'all told us the story. That's what I'm saying. We're going off how y'all told us the story. Magic the Magic Man is here. He took over center. He was dominant. I'm like, all right, I'll go watch it. I'm just like, okay, I see a couple things. But I'm like,
well, saying from someone who watched it live and watched it like 50 times since, he played center in this sense, and this is what I was trying to tell Mars when that happened. Since you brought this up, is that yes, he took the tip. But what we say when he played center was go look at what he did. He still ran the offense because, he's the best passer on the team. He's still going to initiate the offense. But he started to initiate it more from the post. He also played more in the post than he typically did throughout that series. He played there was a lot of hook shots, a lot of post-up moves. He also guarded, I want to say, the power forward for most of that game. But more importantly, what we say when he played the center, he took on the role of Kareem in terms of the leader. When they need a bucket, they went into Magic, where normally he'd be going into Kareem. He was their motivation. He was the leader of that team, that the things that Kareem used to do when he was in, that's what he did. That's what when at least a person who actually saw it versus, I don't know who you're talking to, who says, oh yeah, you just posted up and played like a 7-footer. No, but he took the role of Kareem in terms of the leader, in terms of going into the post, those types of things. That's what he did.
That just sounds like he turned into the best player on the floor.
That's what it sounds like to me too.
You can't.
But that's why we
pretend to play center. You either play center or you don't.
Down low and started posting up. No, that's not what he wasn't sitting there blocking shots. No, but he took on the role, what Kareem's role would have been, with still his playmaking. That's what he did. That's
what people will tell you that. Well, because the only people I hear, like, because I know you watched the game, I know Chill's done his homework and watched the game. The people I talk to, and the reason why I brought it to TikTok is because it's them and they're younger than me, telling me that Magic Johnson played center, and I know they haven't watched the game. Because when I did watch the game, even though yes, I did say he wasn't guarding Lionel or Hollins, when I was wrong. Yeah, cool. We'll let that one slide.
Okay.
But when I did watch the game, I watched him take the tip. Pause.
Focus, Mars. You good, Mars? Focus, bro.
I watched him do the jump ball. The jump ball. And then he went and guarded Caldwell Jones, who I know in your video you said he was technically a center, but he played the power forward next to Darryl Dawkins, which technically is true, but Caldwell Jones wasn't really a scoring threat, and they did use him more like at the 12 to 15 foot ring, so it was more beneficial to Magic. And they used him defensively in the same way he was pretty much being used a lot of the time anywhere, where he would be the one who would initiate traps because of his size, and that's what he would do on Darryl Dawkins and a lot of people. Every time there was a post touch, that's what he would do. So when I was saying he didn't play center, I mean, defensively, he guarded the bigger guy, but he was still being used functionally the same way. And yes, I do agree he was playing more out of the post, especially in that game where Norm Nixon was actually more on the perimeter and Magic Johnson was playing more out of the high post. That's true. But when people tell me he played center, they're telling me that he was anchoring the team. And I'm like, you didn't watch the game. You're just making stuff up. That's what my beef was with people. That's what my beef was.
Do we overemphasize go back and watch the film? Do we overemphasize that today?
No,
I don't think you should talk about something if you've never watched it.
Go back and watch the film with context.
The go back watch the film is cool, but the story you tell me before it and overanalyze and tell me how it was, then I actually go watch it. It's not exactly as what you said. That's
like that left-handed game with Larry Bird, the one they
he did not score 47 points.
When I watched like his second bucket with his right hand, I'm like, okay, well, you guys like
it. Did not happen.
Yeah, I hate when people.
I don't find that fair though.
Once again, it's only kids who bring that stuff up. Like that's the issue I have. It's not I don't hear 40-year-olds who saw it. I don't hear them really talk about it. It's a bunch of kids who haven't watched it. Larry Bird had 47 with his left hand because he was saving his right hand for the Lakers. I went and watched that game. He had about 16 points with his left hand, which is cool.
No, but you know why, Mars? Do you know why, Mars? Sorry, go ahead, Damo. I
was just saying they do a lot. They're all they're doing is what a lot of kids have done. Hell, what I did when I was younger in my younger days, getting into basketball, you would hear something. What you've been told. What you've been told or what you heard watching, whether it's NBA TV, open court, or whatever basketball media it was. You heard a player say something, you're like, "Oh, okay, well he was a player, he must know," and you run with it. Now, is that right? No, but it's definitely a normal thing. Going 20, 30 years in the future, there's going to be people talking about that 2016 finals run from LeBron, and they're going to add a bunch of extra to it. And it's going to be up to people that was there to really add context, or we're going to be the ones, yeah, man, he really did take off from free throw line one shoe and jump over.
But Damo, I think it's actually something different, and this is to Mars's point. So someone said, hey, he scored 43. and he played a lot of it with his left hand. The problem is people only hear or listen to what they want to hear, because I know I have said I purposely, actually, I'll be honest now, I'll tell you the truth. I purposely always make 3 points. In my TikTok videos, it's like this old thing, like psychological thing, where you make 3 points, right? It's like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. You make 3 points. That's how you get people's attention, 3 points. Here's the problem. They only pick the one that they either agree or disagree with, and they run with it. So someone said, Bird scored 43 points against this team, and he used his left hand some of the time. Well, it turns into, he uses his left hand for the whole 43 points. No, dude, you just didn't listen. That's what it is, I think, more too. They don't just read the chat. Read the chat when you say something, and go over and read the chat. Someone will take half of your sentence and be like, Mars is dumb. He knows Mars knows everything. He said, no, dude, that's not what he said. Like, how many times have we sat up here and argued over it? That's not what I said. Welcome.
Or you're not hearing me.
You're not hearing me. Oh, yeah. You're not hearing me. Happens all the time. All right. Anything on Moses before we move on? We have another hoop jargon. I don't know who you are. Welcome to the show.
Appreciate it.
Anything else on Moses? No? Good. All right. So here's what we got. The main topic of the show today. Thank you for your super chats. We will get to them because it's me. We get to them. So please send them in if you have more. Who gained the most from this NBA season? We had performances like from SGA, Lauri Markkanen. If you had to pick one player who gained the most from this past season, we had some amazing performances. I'm just going to go around the room. Who would that person be that gained the most from this season? Mars.
Well, you probably have to say Jokic. I remember we spoke before the season. Well, maybe not we. I think it was on the other Players Trade show. And then it was who had the most to prove this season. And then I said Jokic because people are going to look at him as a 2-time MVP. Now his team's healthy. If he doesn't win it, everyone's going to say his MVPs were fraudulent, kind of like they do with Steve Nash. But now he's had his team healthy and he did win. I think Jokic is now sharp everyone who doubted him. And now everyone's giving him the props that I think he deserved the whole time, and now everyone's giving Jokic the flowers. So I think Jokic has probably upped his level of respect among the NBA community more than probably anyone in the league.
So Jokic went from 2-time MVP who wasn't deserving of a third straight MVP to maybe he's the best player in the NBA.
He went from 2-time MVP who arguably didn't deserve either one and a fraud to someone who got robbed of MVP this year and the best player in the world. Things went full circle.
Crazy.
It was crazy.
I think it's funny when it comes to Jokic before the season. During the season, during the MVP race, a lot of the capping I was hearing was if Jokic wins a third MVP, he's not going to win a title. So what does it matter? Well, you didn't give him the MVP and he won a damn title. So it's just real poetic to me.
And the guy that gave the MVP flamed out in the playoffs.
Literally did what he usually does.
Which is kind of ironic.
To push back on the Jokic thing, from a narrative perspective, Mars, I understand you, but let's be honest. Before this playoffs, Jokic was a top 3 player in the league. Last year, he was top 3 player in the league. So
depending on who you talk to, I don't know. I was having a conversation where Jokic weren't even top 5. So I mean, I was hearing the
that's
Embiid
wild.
Jokic, Luka Jokic, KD Jokic, Jokic was getting disrespected. So
it was narrative.
No, I'm saying when you look at it logically, right? Outside of the narrative, you can't call him a fraud when you put up that level of performances with an unhealthy team prior to winning the championship. You can't call him a fraud when even prior to this playoff run, he was still regarded as arguably the best center, top 3. Well, hold on, arguably the best center, top 3 player in the league, and arguably the best offensive player in the game. I personally believe this championship I don't really validate Jokic. I think the person who gained the most, in my opinion, was De'Aaron Fox. People knew how good De'Aaron Fox was, but let's be honest, you make your name in the playoffs. So the fact that he was the best player on the best team to get to 3rd seed, the fact that he multiple 30-point games in that Warriors series. As a matter of fact, there's some people that's on his panel that even expressed that if De'Aaron Fox didn't get hurt, maybe it'd be a different outcome of the series. So I think, and shout out to you, Mars, too, for he by him having that type of performance, I think he showed the world that the gap between him and a guard like John Morant isn't that far off. We got a guy who's one of the best closers in the league. He was the first guy to win the Jerry West Clutch Player of the Year award. And on top of that, let's not one of the best finishers in the league. And if you did watch De'Aaron Fox, he improved as a jump shooter, he improved his playmaking and his defense. I personally believe the fact that he was able to show that in the playoffs against the defending champs, I think he gained the most last season.
That's what happens when
Is that
you're
you,
playing with
Ox?
better players.
Is that you, Ox? You hiding behind a alias?
Personally, Fluent, like I predicted De'Aaron Fox to be the breakout player in these playoffs. That's just me personally, but like that's what I believe had the most.
That's what happens when you're playing with better players. You usually play better when you're playing with better players. That's normally what happens. But I think the guy who had the most to gain was Embiid, because now that puts him closer to what Joker's doing. So the fact that he came in second in league MVP votes both of those years, and he was arguably the best 5 man in the game, and the fact that he actually won the league MVP, first guy to average 30 a game since Shaq did it over 20 years ago, took Philadelphia to the playoff, did flame out in the playoff, but now the fact that he won the league MVP, and now he's closer now to being the best player in the game, as opposed to if he loses it again, he's still just another big guy. Well, now he's got that tag on him that, you're the league MVP. This other thing is now next. This other thing now where you have to now win the NBA championship, because you already did this. So now you got to get close. Now the way you get closer to that is to doing this. You've already won the league MVP. So now you got to win the NBA championship. And I think that he had the most to gain this season, even though he did flame out in the playoffs. But the fact that he won the league MVP now puts him closer to where he needs to go. And I think the pressure is on him even more to win. And
Is there an expectation? I know we're gonna get back to who gained the most from the season. Is there an expectation if you win the MVP, you should win the NBA title that year? And do you guys know how many people have actually done
that? Shouldn't be. There shouldn't be, because the last MVP to win a title was 2015 Steph.
Yeah.
That was it.
I'm gonna say in this generation.
We can act like it's not, but
you supposed
fans pretend like winning playoff success championships is everything, and if you don't do that, it don't matter if you're the MVP or not. You choked, you a fraud, X, Y, and Z. This is why Jokic for the last 2 years was called a fraud, because fans, for the most part, didn't see him with a title. They didn't care that he was one of the most skillful bigs, whatever. Just because he didn't win the title, they nitpicked at his flaws. He can't play defense. He can't, all this. And they called him a choker until he actually won. Now he got that title.
Do they know only 14 players?
Didn't have a second
only
best
14 players in the history of the NBA have won an MVP.
I know, but fans are not common sense thinkers. They're casuals for a reason.
Okay.
And so
So
they
you're talking
don't
about
they don't
casual
approach the
fans.
game with
Okay.
it. No, well, again, most people,
That's the majority.
most
Casual
people have that approach, and the proof is in the fact that you can go back to times when there was a panel where you guys got on Ticket, because Ticket said in one particular season Kobe Bryant struggled in the playoffs and he knocked them down like to the 11th best player in the league. And this is in Kobe's prime. There was no time in Kobe's prime where he was the 11th best player in the league. But Ticket's like, oh, he didn't have this success in winning and didn't win a champ. So winning affects people, whether you think they're casuals or not. We just seen Low got caught up in that with KD. But he used recency bias and what he saw most recently in the playoffs. The Suns let him down. And because of that, he said, oh, I can't. Why is KD ranked top 5? He didn't do this in the playoffs. But at the end of the day, in a sense, KD is a top 5 talent in this league. I mean, that's undeniable. He is a top 5 talent. I don't care about recency bias and all this. So
was he in your top 5 last year? This past season, was he a top 5 player?
How's that undeniable?
He was.
KD is a top 5 player.
Are we going strictly from a talent standpoint? Because again, when we do stuff like that, now we got to add a whole bunch of other guys into it too.
Well, if you want, like,
Speaking of the devil,
was he a top 5 MVP last year? No. He wasn't a top 5 MVP candidate last year. Like, if you want to
we ain't talking about that.
If you want to go with the guys who had the best season, particularly last year, you're probably going to find those guys in the MVP race.
But this is the problem that we do have with this generation now. Like, look, Y'all act like winning don't matter at all, and that's why, like you said, the last MVP to win since 2015 that's one of the best players on the best team. That's how I used to go with the MVP on the regular. But now you got guys winning MVPs as the 6th seed. You got guys winning MVPs because they carrying their team because they hurt, and then when they end up losing, like Jokic, you be like, oh, he's a fraud. Or you got guys like Russell Westbrook who average a triple-double, but knowing darn well that his team cannot compete, and then you look at him like, oh my God, he's a fraud because he ain't win. But you giving these guys MVPs on losing teams instead of when they used to majority of the time give the MVP to the best player on the best team.
No, MVPs have a narrative on a year-by-year basis.
It depends. Each season,
MVP narrative changes
but I'm
every
talking
year.
about now, like comparing, like I'm talking like on comparable from the usual MVP to now the usual narrative around MVP. They don't really give it to the best player on the best team, so you can't even expect the MVP to have a winning chance. I think maybe
yeah, but fans do. Fans expected Russell Westbrook.
Let me interject. Let me interject because I told y'all I stand with Ticket, so I messaged him and I told him to come on up. Ticket, man, you been listening in? You know what we talking about?
What's up, my brother? You already know. Grill Town. What up, baby? Damo, Mars. Hey, Lamont. I heard you said my name, dog.
It's like Candyman, right? Ticket. Like you look in the mirror and say my name.
You know I'm gonna pop up when you say my name.
My name's like Candyman.
I didn't say it was all facts.
I had to come with my boy Flo and hit me, but hey, Sturdy, you've been talking a whole lot in the comment section too, so I'm glad you up here today too. This is gonna be extra. Oh, no
doubt.
I see you doing a lot of talking. I don't even know who you are, but you got a lot of disrespect for me in the comment section, so we'll get to that today too. But Lamont, to what you said, it's true, bro. Most of the players, what I said about Kobe, we downgraded most of the players based off of the fact that they didn't win. Like, for example, it was years that Bradley Beal averaged 30 in the league. Nobody had him in the top 10. Nobody had him in the top 15. Nobody had it. Why? Because he was losing. So they downgraded him. But if his team was a number 1 seed in the NBA and he was averaging 30, everybody would have him in their top 5 that season. See what I'm saying? Everybody would say, oh, he's a top 5 player this year if he had a number 1 team in the league and he was averaging those same numbers he was putting up. The fact that he didn't have an effect on winning, we didn't even reverence him. So it's been a lot of players who have done that.
Fair, though? That's fair.
No, that's what I'm saying. Hold on. But he said that it was unfair. No, he said it was unfair. No, I'm saying, Dom, he said what I said it was unfair. When I said it's about Kobe, when they didn't make the playoff.
Yeah. To take a point, Lamont said it in 2005. Lamont, you think Kobe Bryant was still a top 5 player?
In any year in Kobe's prime, he was always a top 5 player. One thing, remember, this is in the NBA is not a one-on-one league. If it was a one-on-one league and Kobe could literally do everything by himself and control winning and losing, absolutely. Of course, we can then put all the responsibility on him. But when you talk about winning and losing, which takes a good organization, which means the organization has the right move, make the right moves. You have a team, other guys around you have to stay healthy, and they have to play up to the championship level or winning level. Right. And then you have the individual star, right? They have to also do their jobs as well. It's not too many years where these star players like the KDs and Kobe's didn't individually do their job. Generally, when you go to these guys in years where they didn't have a ton of winning success, it's because they just didn't have very good teams around them. It's not because they were bad themselves.
Right.
You know, like everybody wants Damian Lillard for a reason. Everybody wants Damian Lillard. Not, you know, he hasn't had the team around him to have a ton of winning success, but everybody knows he's one of the best talents in the league. They don't have to look to winning and losing to prove it. And that's
so I want to go back to something SB Talk Sports, SB something you said. You said they used to give the best player on the best team the MVP. How come only 14 MVPs have won a title in the same year of their MVP win then?
Well, I'm saying that a team that can actually compete for a championship usually did. Because think about the last couple ones. Jokic won it back-to-back recently. His team's been hurt. Imagine they still dock him for it, right? Now, when you go, I think around this time, how many 6 seeds did you know recently won or under 5 seeds won MVPs in like recent years? It's only been in this era.
Jokic, not in recent years, with the exception of Joker and Russell Westbrook. The last dude to win MVP on the team that was not a number 1, 2, or 3 seed, that was Moses in '82. They were the 4th seed. And that was it. That was over 40 years.
What about chill? What about Jordan? His first MVP. They weren't top 3.
Jordan, please. The 1991 Chicago Bulls won 62 games.
No. His first MVP.
Yeah. So in '88, they were the 3rd seed.
They were third seed.
They're the third seed.
No,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna check that.
The only way a team that's below what the fifth or the fourth or fifth seed is going to have an MVP is if they're having a historical run and it's narrative driven. Russell
The
Westbrook is
the only reason Westbrook run it, I accidentally said Harden. I meant Westbrook. The only reason Westbrook run it was the first triple double.
Thank you.
Since Oscar. It's been 60 years, so
which was a mistake.
Well, they didn't know
it was a mistake, and the reason why it was a mistake because that's what they based it on. Only except he goes on to average a triple double for 3 more years. He's like he should have won the league MVP 3 more times because that's what you based it on.
No, but the reason he won the first time is because it was the first time we've seen it.
That's the problem.
The following season, he does it. He has a better team. The expectation is to win. You've seen it last year. You've seen him do it. So the value.
So now we've seen this before, so you don't get it.
Yeah, the narrative. It's about a narrative. Like I said, if you get it as a 16 team,
so why did Nash? So then why did Nash get back to back when he basically did the same thing the year after his first MVP?
Because the next year Stoudemire got hurt, so it was like, oh well, he still kept going.
He kept his team.
If Stoudemire was healthy, Nash. If Stoudemire is healthy, Nash doesn't win because he wants Kobe to have the MVP. If Stoudemire was healthy, Nash doesn't win the 06 MVP. Nash won it because Stoudemire was hurt. That's the reason.
Real quick. And I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that it's right that the NBA is running the MVP races like this. I'm not saying it should be like that. I'm just telling people, and I'm telling y'all what I've realized based off the last however many MVPs has been. It's strictly either narrative driven or it's they were so statistically great or they broke some statistical record or something.
Always narrative.
It's narrative or it's some clear statistic that they want you to realize this guy is literally making history. So he wins. That's it.
Is it wrong because it happened to Jokic? Because nobody said it was wrong that it happened to Giannis. When they said they wasn't going to get Giannis no more MVPs until he won the chip, nobody said that was wrong. Nobody was calling outlandish stuff and saying all this crazy stuff when it happened to Giannis, only when it happened to Jokic. But then think about this. I don't think it was unfair. I don't think it's unfair that Jokic got that criticism until he won because he shouldn't have been elevated until he won. Even though he was doing all these things, he shouldn't have been looked at like that because we don't look at Dominique Wilkins like that. Dominique Wilkins was going through the gauntlet. Every year he was losing to Mike, Isaiah, or Larry. Every single year in the playoff. They all had way better teams than him, but we never uplift him and we never put him on the level he should have really been on as the player he was. Based off the fact that
I know Jay does because that's his favorite player, but yeah, you're right. The most people don't. You're right. Most people don't.
I don't think it makes sense to withhold regular season awards from someone because of the postseason. When it happened to Giannis, I think that was wrong. I just wasn't on Players' Choice to say it was wrong because I think Giannis had a very strong case for the MVP in 2021, but they weren't going to give it to him, and I know for a fact they weren't going to give it to him.
But we got
because they said it, and I think it was wrong with
the narrative. To prove the narrative thing, Jay, what did I tell you at the beginning of this season? I said Embiid's going to win the MVP because as long as he has healthy and he has whatever similar stats that he had, because it was second. And they were like, well, he's probably earned it and he's going to get it if it's close. And what happened? It was close and they gave it to him. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that he was second 2 years in a row and they're like, yeah, maybe you should have won one of those. And the narrative was, well, okay, let's just do it. If Joker
didn't win the league MVP last year, he would have won it this year going away. It wouldn't have been close.
Exactly. I think they scared of the repercussions.
I disagree, Chill.
If you give Jokic a third MVP in a row, you put him in a top 10 all-time conversation.
Hold on for a second, FYP. Keep going. It was a 3-man race. Go ahead. Tell everybody how the 3-man race went. Go ahead.
It was Giannis, Embiid, and Joker.
Right.
So even that's the most underrated thing. Yes, Joker had a historic season, but those guys also had historic seasons as well. So
Giannis
I'm saying
did not have a historic season this year. No, he did not.
He didn't have a historic season?
No, he did
not.
He did.
He did. He was the only player in the NBA. He was only in NBA. He was the only player in NBA, only being in NBA history to shoot 55% from the field since Wilt.
Okay, he did that for a stretch.
Average 30 for the season since Wilt Chamberlain.
Right. And he did that for a season.
That's the all-time great season right there.
And he did that. He did that for a stretch. And he did that for a stretch. However, he won the league MVP and the defensive player of the year. That's an historic season.
I'm talking about this year. No, I'm talking about this year. I'm talking about. I'm saying this year he had this year. See, I don't even like Ace 30 because he be disrespecting me in the comment section. Don't even know me, but I gotta agree with him on this.
Okay.
This year, he did have a historic season. Right. He did. Giannis did have but Giannis's season was so great we overlooked how great his season was because he does it all the time. He does it all the time. Right, I'm saying he does it all the time. So so you can put him in the same category as Jokic.
I don't want to throw that word historic out. I don't like how that term.
He's the only one that did it since Wilt. He the only one that did it since Wilt.
That's pretty. That is, if that's the case, that is historic. That is historic.
When I think about historic, I think about what Giannis did in the 19-20 season or the 18-19 season when he won the Defensive Player of the Year and averaged 30 a game and won the league MVP. That's historic. Now to have a high field goal percentage. Don't get me wrong, Ticket. To have a high field goal percentage, and to average a lot of points, that is historic in a sense. But is it bigger than this?
But the only reason why you saying Jokic, only reason why you saying this for Jokic is because the close to him close to averaging the triple double. That's the only reason why you saying it for Jokic. And he didn't even have the best record in the league. Giannis did.
They had the best record in the Western Conference.
In the West.
No, he didn't have the best record in the league.
No, he did not have the best record in the league. That's a fact. He did not.
Right. So I'm saying Giannis had the best record in the league, and he had a season where he was the only player in NBA history that averaged 30 points and shot over 55%. Since Wilt Chamberlain. No other player in NBA history did that. But so we can discredit that in your mind, but we can't, but we gotta respect the fact that Jokic almost averaged a triple-double, which resulted in him, you understand what I'm saying, being second to Giannis.
I had over Embiid. That's what I had Giannis.
I'm cool either one of them get it over Embiid because it was a straight narrative.
They were scared to give it to Jokic. You give it to Jokic, and you win 3 MVPs in a row. And let's say he also went on to win the championship that year.
Now we got to talk about
three MVPs in a row puts you in a whole tier.
Now we got to talk about him different.
You almost automatically have to put him in the top 15 all-time conversation.
We got to start talking about him different.
You have to.
Do we not think he's going to get there anyways? At this pace,
he will get there.
But we don't know what's going to happen.
It's not that it's not crazy, Damo. That's not the problem. The problem is not crazy. The problem that we have is the same thing that Ticket talk about. It's too early. We ain't prepared to have this conversation right now.
Yeah, exactly. He's 27.
Why is it too early?
We're not prepared to have this conversation right now. Not to say that he won't be worthy. But it's just not. We ain't prepared to have this conversation right now.
But if he's producing like one of those guys, if he's playing at that kind of talent level, like let's be honest, Jokic is one of the best centers we've seen. Definitely in this era. Like talent-wise, yes. Talent-wise, yes. 7 years, 7 seasons.
Is he not already at 7?
No, Damo. He's only been in the league 7 years. There's a difference between being in the league 7 years.
7.
Joker only been nice for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Don't make it sound like Joker been nice for a decade.
Hold on.
He has not.
I'm not trying to sit here and say Jokic has been this great player his entire career.
That's the point.
He came into his own.
Right.
He has been consistently for at least 3 years one of the most talented centers we've ever seen.
Right. Well, you got to take. We
start putting him in. About 3 years of work of being a top 15 player. That makes it's too many players.
I'm not saying he should wait. First of all, let's relax. You're at a 10. Let's come back down to a 6. I'm not saying that he needs to be a top 15 player all time. I didn't say that.
That's what
all I'm saying.
Said.
No. I'm saying is it's not crazy to start. Okay, maybe it's time to start talking. How long before we start talking about guys differently?
We've already had that conversation.
Well, Lamar, I think you got to have. When you look at the great bigs, they all had at least an 8 to 10 year stretch where they would just dominate. If you look at Duncan, if you look at Akeem, if you look at Moses, if you look at any of them dudes had an 8 to 10 year stretch. When we start judging dudes off of 4 and 5 years, and like for example, I was saying things about Giannis, and I got criticized. And Giannis been killing like this for 6 years. He's been killing like this for 6 years. He's been killing at this level for 6 years, and I got criticized for that. So, like I said before, for me, like I said, man, you got to be more time, bro, because he could get you never know what could happen with him next season. Next season, he could fall off. It could be something that just out of this world happened that his game ain't the same. And we looking stupid now. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, we got to wait and see. We got to wait and see what happens. I want to wait and see what happens with Jokic because I don't think Jokic is going to play like this for another 3 years. I think, and then I think about this, Dom, and I'll leave it at this. When we comparing him to the all-time greats, bro, when we're comparing him to the all-time greats, bro, I don't think that he's in the easiest era than all those other big men we talking about as far as competition. He's playing in the easiest era, so he gonna look great. That's like if somebody go to the YMCA right now that play pro ball overseas, they gonna look great against all those bums overseas. But now if you put them against dudes in the NBA, now let's see what they really look like. See what I'm saying? So I want to see what Jokic. When I think of Jokic all the time, I think about his competition too. Oh, and Dwight had competition.
I'm about to say, yeah.
Mars has been waiting patiently with his hand up. So Mars, I appreciate that. Go ahead.
I just want to say I 100% agree with the longevity thing. That's why when it comes to all-time centers, I have Jokic on the back ends of the top 10. I don't have him over like David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Moses Malone, all those other. He's at 8 for me. But I will say, go back to 2016. Stephen Curry was being put number 2 behind Magic Johnson.
That was
in
nuts,
2016.
Oh my God,
that was his second year at an MVP level.
Yeah, that was nuts.
People were putting him ahead of Isaiah Thomas. No, it's not. No, because he's added to it. But people were saying in 2016, he's over Isaiah, he's over John Stockton, he's over Jason Kidd, he's over Steve Nash, he's over Chris Paul. They were saying that in 2016.
Yep.
So I'm just saying, if people are willing to do that with Steph Curry, they should be willing to do that with Giannis, with Jokic. They need to be consistent.
Tone, how you feel? Wait. Tone, you being a Magic guy, Tone, in year 6 for Steph Curry, how do you feel about them putting him in the same conversation after year 6 with Magic Johnson? How you feel about that?
But I don't put people in until they've finished.
Oh, so after year 6, you're talking about a dude. Right, that's the point.
But I understand. But I understand it's because people are looking at the trajectory of a player, and they're projecting. They're saying, well, if he keeps this up for a few more years, that's
no, Tone, you're not getting away with that. They said at that time he was better. They ain't saying they weren't predicting Tone. They said at that time Tone he was better than Urban Magic Johnson.
Right, which was nuts.
Tone, you'll do that. You'll project and say, "Hey, I can see this," but you don't like. But you don't like to do that because you like to wait, like you said.
So what?
They wasn't doing that. They was doing what Mars said and was saying he's better. Huh?
Which wasn't true. Which was not true.
Hold on. What's more nuts? Them doing that for Steph Curry or them calling Michael Jordan the GOAT after his 3rd ring?
Okay, first of all, Jordan
Steph Curry. Hold on, them doing that for Steph Curry, dog. Because when Jordan came in the league, Jordan completely dominated the league from year 1. Steph Curry wasn't doing work until like at that level until like year 4, year 5. So Jordan came
in 93. They called Jordan the GOAT. They disrespected Bill, Kareem, who had the same amount of MVPs, if not more, and more championships.
But what have he done? Hold on, but what have he done?
Dominating the league from an individual standpoint. They had 9 years of him. Now he didn't get team
Make
success.
sure we clear on that part, Tone.
No. Don't say that, Tone. Don't say that, Tone. By 93, he had 3 chips. Tone, don't say that, Tone. Tone, by 93, he had 3 chips, and he was the only one of those dudes that had a 3-peat. So we can't say that.
Russell had an 8-peat. Bill Russell.
No, I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the dudes he just. I'm talking about the dudes he just named.
He said Bill Russell was one of them. He said Bill Russell was one of them.
Oh, I thought
He did. It was a little disrespectful.
And just so you know, Sturdy, I didn't like that conversation either about Jordan being as much as I love Jordan. I wasn't ready to say he was the GOAT just yet because it's considering what Jabbar did, considering what Bill Russell did, considering what Bird had done. All of these guys had done. I can appreciate the 3-peat, absolutely, but that doesn't mean that it's not disrespectful.
They were saying it though, Chill. They were saying it's the greatest player they ever seen.
But it's definitely more nuts to say that Steph Curry after year 6 is better than Magic Johnson than it is Jordan being the GOAT.
Hold on, Tone. Tone. How was it wrong when you first of all you had great basketball minds, the coaches, Bobby Knight and all these dudes saying this is the greatest player they ever seen before he came in the league. Then you get in the league, and then after you killing these dudes that's in the league, the all-time greats that we praise, they're saying this. These dudes that's in the league right now ain't saying this stuff about Jokic. We talking about dudes that was in that time that was legends that was saying that Michael Jordan was that dude. I'm talking about Larry, Magic. They all was on the documentary. Said by the time he got to the drink tent, they said, "Man, we had to get to him, man. He was the greatest. He's the guy."
You know why? Because
they Larry didn't have a back by then.
Let me answer Ticket's question. You asked me a question, I'll answer it, Ticket. The reason they were doing it is the same reason we do it today. You refer to people that are the best right now in a narrative that they're the best ever because they're the best you've ever seen. But like, there's people doing that right now, and I think they were caught up in the moment, just as a lot of people get caught up in the moment now. And say,
no. I'm not saying caught up in that moment, Tone. I ain't talking about one dude. I'm talking about Isaiah Thomas retired and was doing TV and saying Jordan was the GOAT by 94. This is facts. He was on NBC doing the commentary. This is Isaiah Thomas, who went to war with Jordan all those years, who was beating up on Jordan, and then Jordan went through them. He was saying on national TV Jordan was the GOAT. First, he was saying it was Kareem. Then he switched and said, it's Mike, man. Mike got to be the GOAT. And
then he went back to Kareem. But I think it's more nuts to say Steph Curry is the GOAT than it is.
Yeah,
I mean, Steph Curry is better than Magic Johnson.
Gentlemen, I've been waiting patiently. All right, so this is why panels like this exist. This is the counterbalance to like mainstream media. Mainstream media, listen, man, I say this all the time on my channel. The sooner you accept reality, the better off you'll be. The NBA is an entertainment-based entity. It just is. So, like we said, the non-fluidity with the NBA All-Stars, like it's pageantry. You don't ever get real criteria. It changes from era to era to era to era. And it sucks because, you know, it's like, okay, like you said, Russell Westbrook being a 6th seed because he got a triple-double. Like, who gives a shit? Like, who's the best player? Usually best player, best team, right? And it jumps all over the place. And these conversations are needed to provide context so we can be like, okay, yeah, you had the numbers, but you did this and you were proficient. And that's a lot of things that a lot of people miss. Proficiency. It's not all about numbers. I can put all these stats up. What do you do that impacts your team at the highest clip? That would, you know, in my mind at least, that's what MVP should be. And in these discussions, again, we kind of whittle these down because the NBA gives us bullshit. It's like, okay, you're saying that this guy's the best, okay, but you're not showing me in a fluid fashion that, okay, every time that this is what we know, he's doing it at a high level. So it's just funny, like, and these conversations are needed, in my opinion.
This is what needs to be understood. The MVP has been consistent with one thing, and there have been exceptions. Russell Westbrook has been an exception. Joker has been an exception. For the most part, the league MVP has been about winning. The problem that we have is that the best player in the league wins the league MVP sometimes. But when the best player doesn't win the league MVP, we consider him in the same category with the best player who won the league MVP, which is not true. And that's where the lines get blurred.
And you know, even this year, there was people like you said, like on ESPN, saying Joel Embiid's the best player in the NBA right now because he won the MVP.
When did or who do y'all think right off top of y'all head when they was first early predicting players? Like, I think from because I'm young, my first memories, maybe they putting Shaq early as a top 50 player all time. So when did you see that, like, they put somebody, they anointed him a little too early?
AD, Anthony Davis.
What they rank Anthony Davis for you take?
Top 75.
Top 75. And Dwight Howard had a way better body of work.
I agree with you on that. Dwight should.
Hold on, and then it's other dudes that they got left out too that had a better body of work that should have been in the top 75, and guys that were in that should have been out. So I understand what you're saying. What you're saying right there, dog. Listen, man. At the end of the day, man, I agree with the brother said. We do need to have these conversations because it is important that is context brought to this stuff. But at the same time, like Chill Town, this is why I exist, Chill Town. This is why you need me to go on your ass every day. And I noticed this, bro.
Whoa.
Bro, like, for example, you said best player, MVP, this, that, and the third, right? So let me ask you a question. Dirk wiped out all them dudes that year. Was he the best player in the world that year?
In 2011?
Yeah. You know what year I'm talking about.
You're talking about 2011.
Yeah. Don't stutter. Don't stutter. Was Dirk Nowitzki the best player in the world that year?
No.
See, that's my problem with dudes like Grilltown. He want Dirk Nowitzki with a team that had lesser help than all the other teams he played against, smoked them dudes, carried them dudes, went to the finals and won a chip, and he still wants to say that year he was the best player in the league. Even though the dude he praised and he thought was the best player in the world that league, which was LeBron James, and goes, I'm gonna be on your ass.
Wait a minute. Let's do it.
You know how I'm coming, Floyd. You know how I'm coming, Floyd. You know how I'm Floyd. I don't change, Floyd. Floyd, I change. You know how I'm coming. So he will say that. He will say that. And LeBron had D-Wade and a prime Chris Bosh on his team and still lost. But Dirk overcame, won the MVP the other year prior. You understand what I'm saying? But we won't say he was the best player in the world that year. He won the MVP. But the year he didn't win the MVP, he comes back to the NBA Finals, right, against the same Miami Heat.
4 years later, by the way.
Right. So let's get. I'm gonna say it again. When he won the MVP, nobody said he was the best player in the world the year he won it. He doesn't win it. He smokes Kobe. He smokes Kobe and Powell. He smokes Russ and KD. He smokes LeBron and all those guys, D Wade and Chris Bosh. And we still not saying that year he wasn't the best player in the world. That's hate, bro.
So we talking something. Number one, we're talking about a guy who won the league MVP and then won the NBA championship 4 years later. Dirk was not the same player in 2007 that he was in 2011. That's number one. Number two, let's rewind the clock back, Ticket, where you dropped Kobe Bryant, right? You dropped Kobe Bryant, whose team did not make the playoffs. He was a top 3 player when he was in the NBA Finals in 2004, according to you. He's not even in the top 5 when they don't make the playoffs. Can you explain that, sir?
Yeah, because of the simple fact that his effect on winning wasn't there that year. That's the same consistency I keep with LeBron James when he's on teams that underachieve when he have more talent. For example, you can't tell me legitimately. You just said Dirk wasn't the same player that he was when he won the MVP, but he beat all those other dudes in their peak.
No, Ticket, that logic doesn't work.
No. I'm saying, but you can't. So hold on. You can't. You can't take that. Hold on. But I'm saying. You can't take that away. He demolished Kevin Garnett. No, destroyed KG in the playoffs before. You remember when he matched up with KG? We seen him annihilate KG in the playoffs. Look, right. Hold on. But I'm giving you his whole body of work of things he did. But we can't even say, even though the year he did win the chip, he beat Kobe and Powell coming off the 2 back-to-back chips. He beat KD and Russ, who were picked to beat him that year. He beat the big 3, LeBron James, D Wade, and Chris Bosh in a prime while they was healthy. But we can't say that 1 year he was the best player in the world.
So was he the best? So the year that he won the league, MVP in 2007, do you think he was the best player in the game?
No, I just told you he wasn't. I said I didn't think he was. I said the year he won the MVP he wasn't. But I'm saying, you just said no. I'm saying what you just said though. You just talked about how you're basing things off of how these players affect on teams. Hold on.
Yeah,
he didn't have no other superstars on that team. His direct effect on his team went through the gauntlet and beat all those other dudes who had elite help. So what I'm saying is, how is he that season not the best if he went? I'm talking about that one season. How can we say he's the best player in the world if he went through the gauntlet and beat all those guys and stood on top?
Ticket, great question that I'm going to ask the entire panel. So I'm going to start with FYF, then SB, and then anybody else can chime in. Hoop Jargon, you can chime in. So here's the question. If you're the best player on a team that wins, are you the best player in the NBA?
No.
Because that's the question.
No, because this takes you back to like 1976 when Kareem won MVP and his team missed the playoffs. And you can't tell me that I think the Celtics might have won the chip that year. Yeah, you can't tell me that their best player was better than Kareem just because they won the chip.
Respect JoJo. Right?
So again,
no.
So playing better doesn't necessarily make you the best player.
That's a lie. Hey, Fluent, you're a liar. You and Lamont a liar. Fluent. You're a slick bastard. You just changed the whole conversation. Fluent tried to make it. Hold on. He tried to make it seem like Dirk Nowitzki wasn't the reason why they won. He wasn't the main reason. He drove the bus. Right. So he wasn't just a player on the team. He drove the bus.
Right. He said the best player on the team that wins the championship.
No. That's not fair, and I actually agree with Tigger on this because you asked about the point. Like, so the postseason matters, yes, because nobody said Jokic was the best player in the league till he won a championship. So so the postseason play and winning does matter. So don't act like it don't matter now.
No, SB, I said that. I said that was
go back to 2022 July where I was saying Jokic was the best player in the world.
People were saying that.
First of all,
go back to 2022 July where I was saying
we're turning this conversation into something completely different.
He was going back between Giannis and Joker. Don't do that.
Yeah, I said 1A, 1B. Go back to it.
No, now he's just one. Now he's just one. Now
No, he still won A1B. What you talking about? I ain't gonna win him by this. I ain't crazy. I'm about to just say he's better than Giannis because he won. Like, that's dumb.
The question Ticket asked me is completely different than what I was talking about with the league MVP. The league MVP, the best player sometimes wins it. That's the point. So in 1992, Michael Jordan was the best player in the league, and he won the league MVP. In 1993, Charles Barkley was not the best player in the league, but he did win the league MVP. And now what we do is,
but what I'm saying is, though, all I'm saying to you is that. So what I'm saying is this. My whole point is this. So in 2007, Dirk won the MVP, went to the finals and lost.
He did not go to the two. He did not.
Okay, my man, he lost the first round. Lost the first round. They lost the first round. Okay. So I agree with you. He wasn't the best player in the world. Guess what? Now let's say this. Had he would have went to the finals and won the chip the year he won the MVP, you would have sat in here and probably said he was the best player in the world.
You know, and you know why?
Hold on. I got you now. I got you. I got your ass right now. So he goes. So now he doesn't win the MVP, but he clearly leads his team. And it ain't even a question because Karan Butler was hurt that year. So he clearly leads his team through all the gauntlet. All these other dudes had other superstar help on their team, basically. You had Kobe Powell, just came off 3 NBA straight finals appearances, 2 chips. You had KD and Russ. I think they'd already went to the NBA finals before then together. See what I'm saying? You had LeBron James.
Not yet.
They went to the finals the next year.
Okay, they were ascending. They were ascending. They were damn good to be reckoned with. Then you had LeBron James, who had already been a few champion finals. Then you had D Wade, who had already won a championship, and Chris Bosh. You know what I'm saying? He had just got there that year. So all I'm saying to you is this, my brother. Bro, Dirk went through all that and he drove the bus. He wasn't no rider. He wasn't none of this. But so when we look at it, at the end of the spectrum, at the end of that season, it's wrong for us to sit up here and say he wasn't the best player because he went through all of the other guys who you would have said it was the best. Because between those guys, you would either pick LeBron or KD or Kobe Bryant that year to have been the best player in the world.
Now here's the difference. I know we got to move on, Tone. Hold on. I know we got to move on. The Ticket, as you were saying, which does make sense. However, what I want you to tell the people is prior to 2011, in between 2007 and 2011, what did Dirk Nowitzki do? What did Dirk Nowitzki do to say he was the best player before they won the NBA championship in 2011? Because when I tell you, when I talk about Joker winning the league MVP this year and winning the NBA championship, not winning the league MVP, I'm sorry, winning the NBA championship and winning the finals MVP, there was a body of work that led up to him being in that conversation or being the best player in the game, being a back-to-back league MVP, and then winning the NBA championship. From 2007, after they got dropped in round 1 to 2011, what did Dirk Nowitzki do for you to say after they won the NBA championship, this is the best player on the planet? Because he could have had an average run, and then that one run is telling me that you're basing that on him being the best player in the game. So what did he do within that time, Ticket, for you to go, besides that, this is the best player in the game? Go ahead.
Well, that season he won a chip, he was damn near a 50, 40, 90 guy. That season he won a chip. So he had a great season. He shot 50% from the field, damn near 40 from the 3, and damn near 90 from the free throw line. That season, right?
That season, sure.
And no other player on his team averaged over 16 points a game that season. That's right. So he clearly carried the team. The second leading scorer averaged 15.8 points per game that season on his team, right? So now that we have established that, now you got to go look at, okay, they won 57 games. They were still one of the best teams in the league. They won 57 games that year. So they won 57 games. Now let me keep cooking your ass because you easy work, a caveman can do it. So then you look at the first round. Dirk led the whole first round. Dirk led the whole first round, bro. The first round they played. The first round they played Portland. The first round they played Portland. Dirk averaged 27.3 that series against Portland. Led them against Portland. They won that series in 6. There was no other scorer that was close to him in that series. So that was clearly led. Then he played the Lakers and Kobe in them. What did he do in that series, sir? He doubled up. He averaged 25.3 points per game. Nobody else on the team averaged 20 in that series. Smoked the Lakers, right? Smoked the Lakers, right? And he shot 57 from the field, 72% from the 3, and 90 from the free throw line against the Lakers. Right. That's incredible. But we're not doing this though, right? So then you mop up the Lakers, shooting almost 60% from the free field, 70 from the three, and 90 from the free throw line, right? Against the Los Angeles Lakers, who went to 3 straight finals, won 2 back-to-back NBA championships, right? Then you go to OKC and play the mighty Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and those boys. And what do you do in that series? He gave 32 a game. 32 a game on 55% from the field, 96% free throw line, 32 a game. So he smoked them. Then what did he do? Russ, KD, Hard, all them dudes, right? Then what did he do? He went right to the Miami Heat, to the big three, right? So, and what did he do against them? Oh, he was easy. Best player in the whole series. Best player on his team. Wasn't even no question. That series, he finals MVP. 26 points a game, 9.7 rebounds, two assists per game, right? Next leading scorer on his team averaged 18. And the third leading scorer was 13.7, and that was it. Nobody else averaged double figures. So he carried that team. So my point is this, is that when you looked at that at the end of that season, how could you legitimately say that he wasn't the best player in the world based off of what he did from the beginning of the season to winning 57 games to then smoking everybody he smoked in the playoffs and him being the leader and not being nobody else close as a second pick.
So we have to move. We have to move on. No, we're cutting it off there because we have to move on. The only thing I'll say is you got to be very careful because if the best player on the championship team is now the best player in the league, that doesn't fit every single year. I see the point that
we ain't done, Ticket. I love this. We're not done though.
Logic has to work all the time, or it works none of the time. So
it doesn't, Tone. You're a liar. It doesn't. Go on, Tone. But it doesn't have to work. You don't use that same logic, Tone. You didn't use it for Vince Carter and for Carmelo. So stop capping. I'm still coming on your show to cook your ass on that.
Conversation for a different day.
I'm still coming. I'm coming on Fruin and Chill to cook your ass on that. You don't use the same words that you use for him.
We ain't done.
Hoop jargon hasn't talked enough, so I want us to go back to our original. Actually, what we were talking about, how we ended up here. I don't know. I feel sorry for Ron. So here's the thing: hoop jargon. We're talking about which NBA player this season gained the most from their performance. And we gave some examples of like Jalen Brunson, SGA, Lauri Markkanen. Mars said Jokic, and then we went off this other tangent. Do you have another player or one of those players that you think they gained the most from their performance this NBA season?
I think all those were, cogent people to say. I would just add one just for the sake of discussion. And I would say Austin Reeves, man. Austin Reeves is going to play himself into a big contract situation. And remember, a guy, I believe he's undrafted. You brothers can correct me, if I'm deficient there. But this dude played himself, and it helps playing for LA. I live in LA. It's cool to be out here. And he's put himself in position where, like, he's a good playmaker, decent defender, good shooter. And now he's going to be like, a guy like almost in like a Caruso situation where somebody's going to overpay for your services. So I would say from what he put in the last 2 years and just being on LeBron's team, man, he's my guy.
All right. So listen, the chat needs to know, are you related to Lamar Odom?
No, shit. I'm tall, though. I'm 6'7". I met Lamar Odom about 3 months ago, man. So he's about 3 inches taller than me, but nah. I hear that shit all day, every day.
You hear it all day? Okay. They've been bugging me, so I'm asking. SB, who you got? Who gained the most from this season?
For me, the clear-cut answer, besides like Jokic, because obviously one is Jimmy Butler. For him to take that team to the finals, especially as the AFC, and then not really having those superstars compared to like other teams, and nobody actually expect them to do anything, having a historical first round. He kind of fell off like series by series by series, but to still take that Miami Heat team to the finals when like the casual NBA fan probably wouldn't know who his next best teammate was. And with then losing Tyler Hero too also. So, and then for him to also just because, people have question marks about the bubble. And also in this era, we praise making it to the finals too. So he took this. So 2020 wasn't a fraud. So now you say, boom, okay, Jimmy Butler took his team. So I think Jimmy Butler put himself in a respectable atmosphere where it's like, because we be on and off with Jimmy Butler because how he plays in the regular season. But I'm going to go Jimmy Butler for sure.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think people will remember Jimmy Butler leading the 8 seed to the finals, or will they more remember Jimmy in the finals where he didn't play as good as he could have?
They're just going to bring up that he took the AFC probably to the finals.
Yeah. Okay. All right. FYF.
I'm going to say,
is it?
I say Mikal Bridges. It's hard because what you go from being a role player behind some stars in Phoenix to getting traded to a Brooklyn Net team that was in shambles. Kyrie trade, KD trade, just nobody knew what direction they was going to go in. A lot of people just thought completely tank, and they did a good job, and he had to go from role player to absolute leader number one. Completely change his role. Defensive first to now I got to be the team's best scorer and the team's best defender. And he did that mid-season. And he kept that team in the playoffs. I mean, nobody really thought they would have a chance in the playoffs, but the fact that he kept them afloat, he kept them competitive. It got to be Mikal Bridges for me. And I think with Jimmy, when people talk about Jimmy, I mean, as good as Jimmy is, I think a ton of his success in Miami is because of the team and the system and the organization. I think people are going to fall into that ploy of over-ranking Jimmy because of the organizational success. But if you just go off individual,
but he the head of the dragon, though. He was.
Everybody. No, when I say that with Jimmy, it's no shade on Jimmy. I don't want to. I never shade Jimmy, but what I'm saying is, what you can say it. The thing is, I'm just being like the thing is with the way he performed in the finals didn't surprise me because I didn't put Kobe-esque level of expectation on him. He's never been that type of player, and so when he gets to the finals and plays the way he did, he just played like normal Jimmy Butler plays. That's who Jimmy Butler is. And so when he didn't live up to that ridiculous expectation, because he had a few stretches, like, Ticket talked about how these guys like Dirk went on good runs, good playoff runs. Yes, sometimes you can go on a good run, but when that run ends, that's who you truly are. The regular season, what we saw in the regular season is who Jimmy is.
Hold on. Tone. Give me 1 second, Tone.
We're gonna
please do 1 second, Tone.
We only got 2 more. We got 2 more. Hold on, and then we'll do rebuttals. Just hold it, Ticket. Hold it. I'll start with you on the rebuttals. Sturdy. Who gained the most from the season? Is it somebody else or somebody that all these people said?
No, I said De'Aaron Fox, but I want to give a shout out to Westbrook because I remember specifically this panel. Low and Tick was going back and forth whether Westbrook's going to be in the league going to this season. So the fact that he proven to be a viable 6 man a year, people forget he was the favorite to win 6 man a year prior to getting traded to the Clippers. So I think if he's a close second for me in regards to gaining the most because now he's proven to be a viable option on champion contending teams. So if it wasn't De'Aaron Fox, I'll put Westbrook.
Chill.
I disagree vehemently.
Chill, dude. Who gained the most this season?
I said Embiid.
Oh, you said Embiid, but you think he gained the most because of winning MVP?
His stock is shit, man. Come on, stop it, man.
Yeah, come on, man.
Even after the playoffs?
Yep, I think it's Embiid.
Wow. Okay, so here's the names that we got. I'm just going to recap it, and then I'm going to open it up to everybody to say if you agree, disagree, or if we missed somebody. So we had Mars said Jokic, Chill said Embiid, Sturdy said De'Aaron Fox with a shout out to Westbrook.
That's crazy.
FYF said Mikal Bridges. SB Talk Sports said Jimmy Buckets. Hoops said Austin Reeves. We threw in Jalen Brunson and Lauri Markkanen. Is there one? I'm starting with you, Ticket. Is there one that you disagree with the most? I know you disagree with something he said about Jimmy Butler, but
I didn't pick one. Crazy.
Right.
H30 talk all this stuff in the comment section, but he agreed with me on a lot of stuff. And he was wrong. He was wrong about what he said about. I was saying that Russ should take the role the Lakers were giving him because they were going to try to blackball him out the league.
Not what
I was arguing for Russ the whole season. They was in here telling me that Russ wasn't this, Russ wasn't that. So I was arguing for Russ. I was the one saying he could do the job. And they should let him rock out and do his thing. So yeah, but no.
I can attest to that. I said Westbrook shouldn't be on a roster, and you were trying to convince me there's a roster for him. I still think
where he could start and do his thing. And I agree with Sturdy. I was going to pick De'Aaron Fox the same way he did. I agree exactly what he said. So I don't understand why he always be sneak dissing in the comments.
Maybe you guys should just be friends.
We're gonna talk about that. But Lamont said, Jimmy, talking about what we seen in the regular season is Jimmy. That's a lot. We've seen Jimmy elevate his level to superstar levels in the playoffs. And listen, it ain't no fluke. It ain't no run because he been the last 4 years What was the Miami Heat the year before he went over there? They was garbage. They wasn't even in the playoffs. So the year he goes over there, they go to the NBA Finals. That doesn't have nothing to do with Jimmy Butler. That's the Miami Heat organization. No, that's cap. That's cap. Hold on. What about the next? What about 3 out of the 4 years they go to the conference finals? They're going through the gauntlet. They're playing Giannis all those years. They're playing the Celtics all those years. They're going through the gauntlet in the Eastern Conference. They ain't playing those softies. They playing the top teams. So that's cap. That's not Jimmy having a great impact. Yeah. Now, if you're saying that Jimmy's not the dude that get you over there, that is what he said. He said Jimmy Butler. He said Jimmy Butler ain't the same player. He said Jimmy Butler's the same. He said Jimmy Butler is that same player you see in the regular season. And when it's in the postseason, he did say that. Hold on, chill down. You get older, get the wax cleaned out your ears, and listen to what he said.
I heard what he said.
You're wrong. I'm gonna rewind the tape too.
Yeah, let's rewind the tape.
I hear a ticket. I'm gonna let Chill say
do
what
this,
he
man.
said.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm gonna say I want Chill to fill you in on what he actually said, because I'm someone's giving me the guys up in the production booth are telling me someone might be blowing in your ear down there on the beach ticket, so you might not have heard exactly what he said. So go ahead, Chill.
I just said that's not what FYF is saying. That Lamont basically said that what Jimmy Butler was doing is big time. But it also has a lot to do with that organization and the system that they run, and not just the system that they run, the coaching staff, everything. It's not just Jimmy Butler.
Now, there's my pushback though that I was gonna say. All right, now look, I guarantee the system, but what? Because I think we overrate Pat Riley and the Heat system.
No, we don't.
Wait, let me finish. What have they put around once they seen that they could be successful? What moves have the Miami Heat made to make that team better? They have not done nothing.
I agree with him. Whoever that is, I agree with him.
Hold on.
Kyle Lowry.
So was Jimmy Butler top 5 in terms? Was Jimmy Butler top 5?
Answer the question.
The booty goon, the caboose.
What moves have they made? The Heat made to the finals, and they seen they could compete even with their system that they run. What moves have they made to make their Miami Heat team better?
Hey, Tone. So you agree with that? You think bringing BBL over there is enough?
No, I said the guy that they're about to stretch and wave.
No. I'm just saying. No, I'm asking you. Hold on. Chill. Yeah, you answer that question. What has Pat Riley done? Hold on. Chill. What has he done, Chill? Since Jimmy came over there, what has he done?
Just so you know, Jimmy Butler was not the franchise. Jimmy Butler was the difference. They drafted Bam. They drafted Tyler Hero, and they were building that unit around the young core. They had Dragic. When they got Jimmy Butler, he was the difference. And they were still building that young core. Now what SB is trying to sell you is that now that Jimmy Butler's there, we got to go get even more stars when we're right there at the doorstep. When in reality, Jimmy is the star. And the other guys.
You don't think they need another star?
Ticket made a really good point, and I at some point have to accept this, that sometimes the best player on a championship contender, that's just as good as you are. And you're not good enough to get it done. And we got to accept that. Instead of, I'm going to go get this guy. I'm going to go get this. Wait a minute. We got enough. You just couldn't get it done. And that's okay. So how about that's what's going on in Miami right now?
It's not. It's because they just made it to the finals. They couldn't compete. And they literally just last year, they was one game away from the finals against the Celtics. And they added nothing.
Hold on, Tone. And I'm glad you brought that up. They added nothing. And where were they at this season?
They made it to the finals. They couldn't compete.
They were an 8 seed.
And they got
an 8 seed.
Let's kill the 8 seed logic, right? Let's kill the 8 seed logic, because last season they were the number 1 seed. They underperformed this year. It wasn't like they didn't have the same guys, because they did have the same guys from last year. They just underperformed. And Jimmy Butler, who, by the way, that Milwaukee series where he averaged 37 a game, that was it after that. You didn't see nothing else like that from him after that. That was it.
Agreed.
But now what you want me to do, you want me to go get Jimmy Butler some more stars when he's the actual stars and it's built around him.
And Chill, let me add this real quick. Team dynamic matters, man. Like Miami has a defensive-minded system. They play within themselves. That's equivalent of like another good player per se. Right, so we cannot discount the fact that Miami has a strong culture. So listen, man, they maxed out, bro. That is what it is. You can't just add pieces to that and succeed per se. Let me inject that as we go forward.
Well, the one thing I wanted to say was, great teams from the top down have the ability to make great runs, and Miami is just built in a manner where they can make great runs. Will they always play like that? Well, sometimes they just run into teams that are better, like we saw with Denver. They just ran into a team that was just better, and you ain't gonna be able to scheme your way out of it. You ain't gonna be able to zone your way and confuse. Like good teams is just gonna prevail, and they just ran into a team that just wasn't gonna fall for the gimmicks anymore. And they had the exact weapon you needed to kind of break them down, and that's what happened. So Jimmy, I think people are gonna like what Chill said. He had one or two good series in this playoff run. People want to elevate him to top 5 in the NBA because of it, but that's not who Jimmy is. Jimmy,
that's not true. I had a top 5 because he's taking this team to 2 NBA finals in 4 years.
I know.
That's not top 5 to you. Hold on.
If you want to put him in the top 5 because of that.
No, I'm asking you a question. No, I'm asking you a question.
A real strange looking top 5.
No. I'm asking you. Hold on. No, I'm asking you a legitimate question, Lamont. A player who went to 3 conference finals in 4 years. A player who went to 2 NBA finals in 4 years. Who took their teams, because before he went there, they didn't make the playoffs. Soon as he goes there, they go to the NBA finals. So he took the team to the finals 2 out of 4 years, and was in the conference finals 3 out of 4 years. So that dude ain't top 5, but we'll put dudes that ain't even doing nowhere near that with more talent and more help on their team in the top 5.
Because the thing is, now we ranking him based on how well the team around him has been built. Like you said with Dominique Wilkins, sometimes you get put on a team in an organization that just don't know how to build and put an optimal winner around you. So should we say Dominique Wilkins isn't really that good because the Atlanta Hawks organization and that coaching staff that he had might not have been as good as some of the teams he was running up against? Or can we just give certain players they just do and just understand, okay, maybe the dynamics around you this year just ain't built right? But there are some players that are better than Jimmy Butler, even though they didn't have the playoff success that he might have had. But playoff success never derives from one player. To win in the playoffs in the NBA, you have to have a good organization and you have to have a good team, especially if you're going to do it multiple years in a row.
But,
you cannot just get lucky and have a good player and just go deep.
He is an all-league defender.
Ain't enough. Ain't an NBA.
But Lamont, he is an all-league defender. He is an all-league player. He's done that for like 4 or 5 years.
So with Scottie Pippen. But you don't believe in him.
I didn't say that. I just said I didn't think he was as great as y'all say he was, as far as being close to Mike.
Scottie Pippen's numbers and Jimmy Butler's numbers almost are a mere reflection of each other.
We are not going that way.
No, we're not going down that road. I'm just saying to Lamont, I
and he won 6 championships. So I guess again, off that logic, we should make Scottie Pippen top 5 all time. 6 championships, similar to numbers of Jimmy. Playoff translation is always there.
The only difference is Jimmy didn't have Mike on his team. So that's a big difference when you got 2-3 riding with you. So that cap doesn't work over here.
Okay, but a lot of players don't have the organizational structure that Jimmy Butler has in the Miami Heat. A Pat Riley running the ship.
So that's what I asked for. That's what I asked for in the ship. Hold on. That's what me and my boy was asking. Hold on, but that's what me and my boy was asking Fluent in Chilltown.
And to say that what Pat Riley did was overrated. I mean, again, we were talking about
but Chilltown. What did he? Chilltown. But think about what my boy. What's the boy's brother's name? B Talk Sports.
And I just told you.
Think about what he just said though. Let's be realistic. Okay, so before Jimmy came, that was not a playoff team. That team was one of the worst teams in the NBA. The year before Jimmy went over there.
They laughed at Jimmy for signing to
They were still one of the best
hold on. And Jimmy's always been a dude that's had great effects on teams. Why? He went to the T-Wolves and made them a playoff team. Those are facts. He went to the T-Wolves, who were a bad organization, made them a playoff team. Philly pretty much had the most success that they've had in years when Jimmy was there with them. They haven't even seen that same level that they was at that year they played and lost to Kawhi in that game 7. They haven't had the same success without Jimmy. These is facts. The Chicago Bulls were looking really good with Jimmy Butler before he left the Chicago Bulls. They probably would have beat the Celtics in that series if Rondo doesn't break his hand. These is facts. So we got to think about all these different things. Jimmy has had a great effect on basketball, bro. So it ain't just, he get props because of what happens in the playoffs. He's had a great effect every single place that he's gone. It's just that when he went to Miami, he's been able to show it. And here's the reason why everybody gave him high marks. Bro, the dudes he took, the man just has 7 undrafted dudes on his team. If you gave any of the other premier players in the league, one last example, I'm done. KD was that team he just had before he left Brooklyn. He was crying and complaining about that team, saying that the only reason why people saying they was going to win the game was because he was on the roster.
Yeah, but Chris Paul has had a good effect on every team that he's been on. But y'all still call him a choker.
That's true.
I didn't call him a choker. He went to the NBA Finals.
I'm saying the general
do, though.
consensus might not be you per se, but we know that the general consensus that's been around Chris Paul his whole entire career is that he can't get it done. Even on every team that he's been on, including OKC, he's elevated them massively. He elevated the Suns, he elevated OKC, he elevated New Orleans. Everywhere he's been, he's elevated teams to a whole nother level, similar to Jimmy. But we don't elevate no Chris Paul up into the top 5. Like,
but isn't that because he tends to get hurt at the worst possible times in the playoffs?
But what I'm saying, Jimmy tends to disappear at the most important times too, don't he?
But
so
no,
disappearing and getting hurt, same
whole
thing.
point
Like
that I
Jimmy
was saying
finds ways to disappear in his own right.
But you rank Tatum over Jimmy though. But you rank Tatum over Jimmy.
I rank Tatum over Jimmy because Tatum's just a better player.
And Jimmy smokes him every time.
No,
okay,
he
that's
doesn't smoke him every time.
Hold on, they didn't play one-on-one. This is not one-on-one.
And they lost. They beat them last year. They beat them last year.
But I'm saying he's beat him 2 out of 3 times. That's what I'm saying.
If we have time, we'll come back to it. We'll come back to this. We got to jump into some super chats. We got to jump in and get some of these done. So Adrian Shake, where does a Giddey, Levine, Strauss, Harris, Vucevic starting 5 finish in the East? Also, who do you think Victor's offense game translate immediately? 30%.
That's a 10 seed right there. That's a 10 seed.
So like, Giddey, Levine, Strauss, Harris, and Vucevic is a 10th seed.
Who is Harris? What Harris? Joe Harris?
I'm assuming
3,000 Harris to the NBA.
So Joe has so Josh Giddey
or Tobias.
Okay,
so Zach Levine and Vuce, what a defense at?
Tobias Harris.
It's a 10 seed. It's a 10 seed.
They're a playing team.
So they're in the playoffs.
They're definitely a playing team.
Well, I don't know if they win the play-in, but they'll be in the play-in.
That's something. They're a playing team.
Does anyone think that's a good lineup? Does anyone think that's a good lineup?
No.
How did he come up with this 5? Like, where did this 5 come from?
And does
I think it also depends on who's coaching them too. It depends on who's coaching those 5.
Coaching all that.
Okay, what are Erik Spo coaching them? If you put that system with him, how many?
They might. If he's Spo's coaching those guys, they win in 48 games.
They're going to the finals. If Erik Spo's coaching.
So, hey, Mars, hold on for a second. SB, I'm listening to your tone. You think Erik Spo is overrated?
No, I love Erik.
Because it sounded to me like I'm like, what if Erik Spoelstra is coaching him?
No, I'm asking.
What do you think of Erik Spoelstra?
I think he's one of the best coaches in the league.
What do you think of the Miami Heat organization as a whole?
I think Miami Heat is a great organization, but I think y'all giving them the prestige of what they did in the past and comparing to actually looking at what they're doing now. Because
what are they doing? What are they doing?
They haven't done nothing. Because perfect example. Because we're not trying to go back to the thing.
2020.
But they went to the right. They signed Jimmy Butler. They was not a playoff team. They laughed at Jimmy Butler for going and say he did not want to win. Jimmy Butler.
Just so you know, before you go any further, they were 1 year removed from making the playoffs. They made the playoffs not that year, but the year before that they was in the playoffs. They only missed the playoffs one season.
Everybody laughed at Jimmy Butler made that say he don't want to win because they couldn't see what this team could do. Now, once they got to the point where we can't compete. Pat Riley didn't add nothing but Kyle Lowry. Nothing.
I'm talking
about from a 3-year perspective, not just 1 year. He didn't add nothing. So you can't just say the Heat ain't got no moves. You can make money. A lot of players and a lot of trades have been done. The Heat could have done something to make that.
That's not true. Just so you know, the year before they got Jimmy and they didn't make the playoffs, he flipped the entire roster. James Jones gone. Hassan Whiteside gone. What's the kid from Duke? Winslow gone. Winslow gone. Dwayne Wade gone. Let's see who else was on that roster.
I'm talking from Jimmy Butler.
That's what I'm talking about. When they got Jimmy Butler, the complete roster got flipped, and not to mention Bam is there now. Tyler Hero is there now, and now with those guys that they have on that crew, 4 years they're together, undrafted guys who they turning into players. But the fact that they didn't bring in stars, as you were saying, Jimmy Butler was that star, and they were building that foundation with Jimmy Butler. So the idea that Pat Riley is overrated or he wasn't doing anything, I just told you what he was doing because that roster got completely flipped from the year that they didn't make the playoffs to go into the NBA Finals.
But still, he was trading those guys. He was trading those guys for flunkies and dudes that wasn't getting burned. Martin. He was an afterthought. Michael Jordan cut him from Charlotte. You talk about Gabe Vincent. What was Gabe Vincent doing a couple years ago? I mean, then you talk about Max Struss, he wasn't even in the NBA. They just got him off the street somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Bought him.
He really had the luck of the draw on the players. He got lucky.
That's not luck. You don't get that many undrafted players.
No, that's not luck.
That's not luck.
No.
So y'all knew they was going to be this great.
No,
Just so you know, the Lakers got lucky winning the draft in '82. The Lakers got lucky getting James Worthy. That's luck.
Mm-hmm.
Having 7 undrafted players, I don't even count Udonis Haslem, but having as many undrafted players as they had, and them dudes panning out, that's not luck. That's called development.
That's
And
development.
I said we were going to come back to this conversation after the super chats. What are you doing again?
Hold on for a second, Tone. Hoop, what you say, Hoop? I ain't hear what you said.
And so the fact you got Caleb Martin to be a guy now, like this dude's a throwaway guy in Charlotte the year before. A throwaway. Him and his twin brother playing together, a throwaway guy. And now he fits this system like a goddamn, like a glove.
Like a glove. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. This one,
Go ahead, Tone, I'm sorry.
that's okay. Take your blood pressure medication right now.
Oh my God. No.
No. Defender than Jordan.
No.
Yes.
Jordan. Kawhi.
Ball, yes.
Kawhi, you could make an argument that Kawhi had a longer body of work. The fact that this dude had missed almost 40% of his career. We can't even have that conversation. If Kawhi came in the league, and then if Kawhi came in the league, the first 3 years he played in San Antonio, and he played like that if he played that for like 10 years stretch. But now we talking.
Does anyone?
What I don't want to do?
What about peak for peak? What about peak for peak then?
Hold on. So Mars, you think what are you basing Leonard being a better defender than Jordan on? What are you basing that on?
No.
Logic. To 2017.
Say that one more time.
The stretch of years from 2013 to 2017, that's just better defensively than what Michael Jordan did in any stretch of years in his career.
Any stretch of his career. So in 1988, Leonard's best year was better than Jordan's best year.
Defensively, yes.
Defensively, even though Jordan is the only player in NBA history to have over 200 blocks and 100 steals in NBA history. And then the next season, he basically did the same thing to prove it wasn't a fluke, right? And then the next year after that,
Hakeem did that too.
Say that one more time.
I said Hakeem did that.
Yeah, he didn't do it before Jordan did it. He didn't do it before Jordan did it.
He's saying at the time that he did it.
And then what Jordan does to prove it wasn't a fluke, he does it again the next year. So the logic that Kawhi Leonard, his best years as a defender were better than Jordan's. Statistically, that's not true, Moss.
But I'm
not doing it based on steals and blocks. If that's what it's based on, then yeah, Jordan can be better.
So you're doing it based on what, Mars?
My eyes.
Your eyes. If you're talking about the eye test, if we're gonna do the eye test, Mars, there's no way that you're gonna sell me that Kawhi Leonard was a better one-on-one defender than Jordan, because he wasn't.
I ain't trying to sell you anything. If you don't want to buy it, that's fine. I'm not selling it anyway. I believe he's better.
If that was your business, Mars, you'd be broke. All right, Angie Carr with super chat. Not sure if y'all talked about this previously, but my boy Rose, Derrick, is in free agency now. What fit is the best for him to possibly?
Send all the Bulls questions, bro. Please send them home, man. Come on, bro. I'm gonna take my poster down, bro. They never talk about the Bulls on here, bro.
Can we have an honest discussion about Derrick Rose really quickly?
Bro, he's done.
Derrick Rose is over.
Yeah, it's done.
Are we still?
No, man.
Yes.
Hold on. Well, chill. What did he? Hold on, but chill. I disagree. Chill. I disagree with that, and I have facts to prove it. The reason why I disagree with that is because before they went and got Jalen Brunson over with the Knicks, right? Mm-hmm. Before they went and got Jalen Brunson, what was Derrick Rose doing the year before that, sir?
What was he doing in
okay, so let me tell you. Hold on. Let me tell you. I asked you because I wanted to see what you was gonna say, right? So the year before, you're saying that he was done, right? But the year before they got Brunson, he was still a solid bench player. He was giving you in 24 minutes a game. He was giving you 12 points and 4 assists off the bench in only 24 minutes. So that's a solid bench player in the league. That's not saying if you're saying he's done compared to being Derrick Rose.
That's the point.
Okay. That's all. That's all. I ain't got no.
Should he go to like Denver and see if he can get a ring with them? Is that?
No, man. Just send him. Look, man. Derrick Rose. Yeah, chill. Know me. Derrick Rose is my favorite player. So I don't like to have this conversation, but just send him home. Let him go out in the rose of glory and just send him. Just come on, bro. Every time.
Rose of glory. I like it. Now my favorite subject. Liam my favorite subject. Favorite food to eat watching basketball.
Excuse me.
Wings, I guess.
Wings, Mars, tea and crumpets.
Tea and crumpets is crazy.
Sure. I guess, sure.
Ticket likes to smoke a cigar. Lamont.
I don't know. I just
Really, guys? Food. This is food. I'm gonna go join the food.
I would say
I really don't eat during the games.
I think the best food.
The
I think the
games
best
are
food
on
to
at
do
like
while
2
watching
a.m.
sports.
for me, so I mean,
I would say Caribbean food. Anything Caribbean, from Haitian to
Oxtail,
Jamaican.
curry goat, rice and peas. Yes, sir. All right, we're gonna get off this. Y'all don't get excited about food like I do. Sorry, Liam. Hajo, did anyone see the slam? That slam has Ja ranked over Rondo by 15 spots.
That is terrible.
That was crazy.
That's just a projection. That's just a projection. They projecting.
But see,
and
this is what we're talking about with the projection.
Or is
This
it right
what we
now?
said.
Maybe it's right now today because Rondo's done, right?
Yeah. No, well, I mean, if you look at if you a lot of people, let's be honest. If Ja was how many years Ja don't play so far? 3 or 4?
He came in 2019.
Minus the championship for Rondo, a lot of people think that Ja Morant was a better basketball player if he just retired today than Rajon Rondo. If you just look at it like that.
And they would be wrong.
No, listen, I'm fit. No, it depends on how you're looking at it. Are you looking as a point guard or just a player in general? Like if you're looking at basketball player, most people will say, "Hey, man, Ja Morant's a better player."
Well, who's the more skilled player?
Wait, ticket. You telling me?
Yeah, I'm like,
if he retired today after 4 seasons, there's an argument for him being better than Rondo entire season without the championship.
I'm gonna give you. Hold on. Well, I'm gonna tell you why people will say that. If you look at Ja Morant,
remember, Ticket ain't saying this. He's saying people. So let's make sure we clear.
You got to look at it like this. The last 2 years, he's done more than Rondo did his entire career. The last 4 years, his rookie year, he was averaging 17.8 and 7.3 assists. Rondo came in the league. Rondo wasn't doing that stuff till like that was Rondo's best year. Those numbers he's put up, it was closer to like nine assists. But his second year, Ja Morant's giving you 19.1. Third year, 27.4. Mm-hmm. Last year, 26.2.
Yep.
I just think Josh is the better scorer. I think Josh is the best scorer, but Rondo was like I'm talking about peak for peak. Rondo all around.
No, I'm saying right. But if you look at Rondo's peak, let's keep it real. Now look at Rajon Rondo's peak, right? Yeah. Rajon Rondo's peak, and he only averaged 9.8 points and 7.9 assists per game for his career. But if you look at Rondo's peak, his peak was 13.7 points, and his peak assists were 11.7 2 times. You know what I'm saying? Now, the one thing about Rondo is the difference with Rondo is that you have to say he did average a double-double 4 different years in the league. That's nasty from a guard position to average the points in the assists. Because he was only averaging like 10.6 points, 11.2 assists, 11.9 points, 11.7 assists, 13.7 points, 11.1 assists, and 11.9 points and 11.7 assists. So if you're looking at it like that, right? If you're looking at it like that, and then you're looking at his performances, how he stepped up in the playoffs, yeah, I would agree with Chill Town because I think he played way better.
I would have to see the entire list to see what criteria they were using.
This ranking, I didn't see it yet, but it's nuts. So Chill, I need you to message your people at the Slam and tell them to stop watching just highlights, because that is ridiculous.
Hey, don't say that because Ticket, remember yesterday before I got your last, somebody said they compared Wemby and Bobo off their highlights. He said they look the same from the highlights. Didn't he watch? That was crazy. That was crazy.
I'm just about to do a TikTok because there's a thing out there that's saying, is Wemby top 5 right now already in the NBA?
That boy
hasn't played 1 game. All right. One-on-one. I'm assuming this is sparked by Dennis Rodman, but one-on-one, D wants to know, or deux if you're French, who wins 1v1 in a game to 21? Prime James or Prime Bird? Bird playing in the NBA, not the Bird that would be playing in Europe.
It depends on how the game of one-on-one is played. Because
how is the game of one-on-one played? It's one-on-one.
Is there a dribble limit?
It don't matter how the game is played. LeBron beating them every.
You talking about the same guy who used to get cooked by Michael Beasley in practice all the time. So now you telling me a Bird who has the ability to score the ball at a 3 level? position.
Right.
If you play a position in the post to score or 2 dribble limit, that might limit LeBron James' game compared to Larry Bird. Y'all just see James go off.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Is
Why
there a dribble
Why
limit?
are we doing that though? Why?
Larry,
watch
chill,
Evan
chill.
McHale,
know,
Larry
is
The
there-
cold
is-
truth
is-
is
is
chill.
there
Larry
a
was
dribble
cold.
limit?
No,
Yeah.
Larry Bird was
I watched
fantastic.
I
Larry
gotta
Bird,
Larry Bird
Evan
was a
McHale one-on-one.
Still, I'm gonna double. Hey, chill. I'm gonna double down on what homie just said too, and you know this for a fact. First of all, Larry did play against dudes that was country strong. So you already know he played against dudes that was strong as hell, dudes that was physical, dudes that was athletic. So that's one. So we know he would not back down against LeBron James. The difference is this: Larry Bird is 6'10". So now you're looking at a guy. LeBron is 6'8". So now you're looking at a guy like Larry Bird. His outside shooting, mid-range shooting, and he can hit you in the post with a fadeaway too. The question is could LeBron James make more shots than Larry? Because I do think that Larry, listen, you're not going to be able to just penetrate, back me down every single time. It's not going to go like that. If that's the case, then LeBron James is going to win if he could just back him down and score on him every single time. I don't see that. I think Larry's ability to mix it up, I think it's a very close game. It comes down to probably last possession. And I think Larry could hit a shot before LeBron, but I'm not going to disrespect LeBron and say Larry will wash him. I think LeBron could win the game too. It's different ways those two guys could win. So I just leave it at that. It's different ways they could win that game.
You know what? I'll be disrespectful. If there's no dribble limit, LeBron is washing Larry on one-on-one. I need
to know if there's a dribble limit. Is it 3 dribbles or unlimited? If it's unlimited, I'll go Bron. If it's 3 dribbles, I'll go
in the game of basketball, 3 dribbles is a lot. 3 dribbles, like, you know what you can do in 3 dribbles and 2 steps? Like, come on, man.
If you got
Well,
movement,
probably it's
3
LeBron,
dribbles,
so
you don't hold on. You don't need
OG, yo,
moves.
Mike,
Chill, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you, OG.
You give a good
We
basketball
done made
player
OG knock his mic out. Said
3 dribbles and 2 steps. You can get from half court to the rim if you know what you're doing. So you don't need a ton of moves.
Mic check.
There we go.
Was Larry, in your mind, was Larry a very good defender in your time? From what you
Bird was an elite defender. He was an elite team defender.
He was
a good one-on-one. He was a good one-on-one defender, and he was an elite team defender.
So now this is the question: how do you think he would fare defensively having to guard LeBron, and how do you think LeBron would have fared having to guard Larry in their primes?
I think Bird would have struggled more having to deal with James than James would have to deal with Bird one-on-one.
With Bird's jump shot, even with Bird's shooting ability, and
even with Bird's jump shot, even with his shooting ability, I think James's athleticism, I think his strength, I think his ability to crowd Bird, I think that would have hampered Bird as opposed to Bird having, as opposed to Bird who's dealing with guys like Dominique Wilkins, who I don't think Dominique Wilkins was as skilled as James, but Dominique Wilkins gave Bird buckets. And I think he would have had a ridiculously difficult time dealing with James.
In a one-on-one matchup, though, in typically in a half-court one-on-one matchup, where James's strength is like, getting a full head of steam and going to the basket, do you think without that ability to do that, and with, I'm going to add this caveat, Bird's intelligence, do you think he could goad him into like shooting threes or trying to post him up, which we know aren't?
I do think that Bird talked the best guys into taking shots that they wouldn't normally take, but I think James is smart enough not to stay in that realm, I think Bird could talk him into a bad shot or two, because Bird was the best trash talker that you would ever want to meet. However, I think I think James was smart enough to get himself out of that.
Now we talking in the 5-on-5 situation. LeBron be more impactful, but putting it in a 1-on-1 half court situation, you actually tend the side to Bird in Bird's game. So, like he said, if Bron get a full head of steam, then that's different. But now you're in a half court setting where you're off your skill set of scoring. Bird, could you tell him? So you just OG.
Yeah, but
Bron James.
Are we talking about James?
That is not how one-on-one works.
Go ahead.
So you think LeBron James is a better one-on-one scorer than Larry Bird?
Yes.
I would say this, SB. This is why I asked the question about the full head of steam. Is that Bird, good defender, but let's be honest, he's not as quick as LeBron. He's not as athletic as LeBron. So in a one-on-one game, if Bird presses up on him, wanting him, he's fast enough to get by him with that first step. So now he's going to have to lay off him. Well, if he lays off him and he gets 1-2 dribbles, well, now he's going to blow right by him. So that's why I think, although Bird has a skill set that is probably more tuned for one-on-one, I think the athleticism and still the ability to score like we underrate how good LeBron is as a scorer. I think LeBron still wins it, but I think it's closer than people think. I think people will probably disrespect Bird a little bit more than they should. But I still think
respectfully, it will not be close. It will not be close. Like we just saw in Game 6 in 1984. Like when James Worthy won in the finals, NBA Finals, that when James Worthy wanted to score when Bird was in front of him, he scored. And imagine a 3.0 James Worthy in a one-on-one setting with no defensive help against Bird. Like that's nothing. Like I'll be honest with you, like all due respect to Bird, but like he don't have the physical attributes to stay in front of LeBron. People forget how LeBron got arguably the second best first step. LeBron arguably the second best first steps in NBA history.
But
so
Bird,
it don't take that much.
Bird also had a very good first step. He wasn't fast, but he had a very good first step, and I think he's still going to get his shots off. So I think he'll keep it close on the offensive end. You're right defensively. I agree with you defensively. I agree. That's why I say LeBron wins. But I don't think it's like 21-7. I think it might be like 21-15. Like I think it's closer than people think.
I don't think Bird get double digits. I don't think Bird.
That's crazy.
That's disrespectful.
Well, that's very disrespectful right there, Sturdy.
All right.
Bird was cold, man.
All right, hold
on 1 second, Florent. Hey, Sturdy, what's your beef with me, dog?
No. We'll deal with that after. We'll deal with that.
He always put him in the comments. I just know what's your beef.
I should probably
we call these conversation out.
No one is paying for that conversation. Drink More Water is paying $10 for this question. So we're jumping to this question. Yeah, but we will get to that ticket. I promise. We will squash this beef. Drink More Water. Giannis joined Wilt as the only player in league history to average at least 30 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists in a single season while shooting at least 50% from the floor. I believe you said it was only Embiid, so I guess that he was just correcting you there. Is that
ESPN stat right there?
No, I said Giannis was the only one that did it since Wilt.
No, I thought. Oh, okay.
On 55% shooting from the field. That's what I said.
Right, okay. Now we'll clear that up. Diesel, FYF moving as one unit together, not player's choice. I don't know what that means. Does anyone know what that means? Lamont, do you know what that means?
Yeah, I do. That's why we here. Look, I'm not even gonna cap about it. Look, Ryan wanted me to come up here and do some old WWE bullshit and pretend like I'm starting some drama with y'all, and just so he can hype up a debate. Look, not too many people actually like. We don't beg people for debates. People want to debate us. Ryan wants us to debate y'all. Again, Ryan's doing a lot of organizing behind the scenes, trying to manipulate some things so you guys actually have a real chance in the debate with us. The format, the people, all the timing of it.
Only thing I know for sure is me and Chill said we was ready to go. So
is this a pre-fight?
No.
Is this a pre-fight to the fight? Is that what they're trying to set up?
Pre-fight? No, the pre-fight will be on FYF. We're gonna see if y'all will actually pull up the FYF for the face-off. But he wants to do the real debate on player's choice. And the thing is, it's just not in me to come over here and villainize. And like Ticket could have hyped it up like that, been the villain. It just ain't our MO to do that. You know, but
Lamont, I don't do that. Me and Lamont came up a long time before this, going at it naturally, just disagreeing on stuff. Our debates, that wasn't nothing that was fabricated. Like Lamont, you know how I get there. I don't have to fabricate no debate. I just don't agree. You know what I'm saying?
But Ryan wants to
is one unit together.
We got to do it. FYF.
They don't have to, but he don't have to do that. All he got to do is put you, me, Chilltown, and Florida them in the same room, and Mars in the same room, and it's gonna get cracking.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Ticket. The format is already set. I don't agree with the format because I don't think it's a true debate. Like I said, I mean, he's trying to keep it safe for you guys because he wants to do more of a trivia. Because he wants to do more of the trivia family night thing. And so I said, we'll agree to that.
You already got Cook, but you already got Cook coming in talking like Scottie Pippen talk.
And so what I said was, I said we can do the family night trivia here on Player's Choice. I said we'll see if they actually pull up the FYF on the 5th. But on the 8th is the main debate. I guess what he's calling the main debate.
You bring out dates and stuff. I've never heard.
This is the first time
I'm just telling you what's going on. Look, because I don't know how else to say it because
I've never heard this before.
Ryan was supposed to be here to look. I just don't have it in me to come up here and fake a beef with y'all. I got no real beef because
You don't have to, but Lamont, you don't have to do that.
You're supposed to be
I
us.
just don't think.
I don't.
I've heard.
OG.
I think the only person up there who's had a consistent take on anything is Chill. Chill might be the toughest just because he's so consistent. But I've heard.
You watch your mouth.
I'm coming after SB because because who SB is? SB is the guy. SB is the guy who smiles in your face, but he got that knife and he's gonna stab you. That's what SB is. He's trying to act like he's my boy, but he not. So
I'm your boy.
no, you ain't. No, you are not. No, you are not. You're trying to sell me that we're friends. You really a foe, but then you get around other people and then it turned into something else. Nah, you ain't selling me that. I live in your building. I live on your block.
I don't even know any of your takes to disagree with them because I don't.
I'm gonna tell y'all how cold Ticket is. Ticket then, without even trying, then convince y'all of his logic. Like over the last 9 months, if you just like, I just be sitting back watching. It's been a couple of y'all that then slowly drifted into Ticket's logic over the last couple of months, and Ticket just really then flipped y'all into thinking like him. And so it's just like, man, y'all fell for that one. That's why I say Chill be the toughest, I believe, because he consistent with it at least. But
you don't have to. But you don't have to. But if it's the truth, if what I'm saying is the truth, hold on. But Lamont, if LeBron James lost 6 NBA Finals, what is there to argue about? That's the truth. Hold on. There's no logic. Hold on. There's no logic. Hold on. But I'm being realistic. There's no logic to flip. There's no like. That's just the facts. You can hate me because I said it. You don't have to like how I said it. You know what I'm saying? But that's the truth. If I told Fluent, like I told his ass the other day, he's a capper because he don't hold Vince Carter to the same standards that he hold Carmelo Anthony. That's the truth. Because they were both damn near the same type of player, except for Carmelo had more success. But Fluent will come up here and lie and make it seem like he.
All right, moving on.
Those are facts.
Carmelo's a bum. That's a fact.
This supposed to be us coming on y'all block just to see what's going on over here. Y'all, yeah, we try to see what to talk about. This what this supposed to be. But,
hey, Fluent, before you go to this is so sad. Did y'all just see what just came up with Zion, man? Zion's out here doing windmill 360s right now, and he can't even get on the court.
We already seen that ticket. We seen that during the playoffs, and we seen him say during the playoffs.
He's doing it for the kids. He's doing it for the kids right now, and can't even get on the court.
I'm not coming back until I feel like Zion.
He said, I'm 98% healthy.
99.
Zionisms are coming out today. I'm posting it today. All right. Okay, this one's for you too. Anyways, ticket. Okay, so says John Wick. Ticket logic. Does the D Wade was the best player in 06 after he won? Chauncey Billups was the best player after 04 when he won? Does that logic?
No, because you easy work. No, that wasn't my logic. My logic was that Dirk was the best player on his team and there was nobody else close. D Wade was on that team, had Shaq still. Duh, all through that playoff run. And in the year before that, Shaq was a second in MVP vote in the year, just a year before that. Shaq didn't play well in that finals. Shaq was solid in those other series that they had to go up play. And remember, Shaq was still drawing double teams when he played with the Heat. And then for your point with Chauncey, bro, Ben Wallace could have won Finals MVP that year. Ben Wallace was destroying things in the finals that year.
Yeah,
so what are you talking about?
Rashid, all those other dudes. That's why the gap wasn't
a
as
whole
big.
bunch of other guys on that team. Yeah, the gap was way bigger with Dirk.
We got the logic. This is in David C. Answering our question about who gained the most this season, and he says Anthony Edwards and Josh Giddey. Agree, disagree, anybody?
I don't know what either of them gained, to be honest.
Josh Giddey did gain a little, but not significant.
And Anthony Edwards gained some playoff experience. So, and I think that elevated him in that organization to the point where we're starting. I'm starting to look at him like I think that he might be the franchise player, and we might want to move off the big fella.
I think Josh Giddey gained a lot. Half of the people didn't even know who he was until
y'all let Chill lie. Y'all let Chill sit up here and tell y'all. Y'all let him tell y'all that Joel Embiid gained the most when realistically Joel Embiid and guys like Donovan Mitchell lost the most this season. Those two guys lost the most this season. I'm gonna repeat myself. Joel Embiid and Mitchell lost him. You don't win the MVP and then play like he played in the playoffs and get smoked out and you gain the most. No, you lost the most because you lost a lot of respect from people because a dude, James Harden, with 40D breastises came out here and got you 2 wins. You couldn't get the other 2. Then you talking about Donovan Mitchell. Bro, you get beat in the first round like that by the Knicks in 5 games, bro, and get sent home. They lost the most, bro.
You can't lose to Julius Randle.
So wait a minute. Why is that? Why am I lying when I say that if they go on to win the NBA championship at some point in the future, we're going to come back to the fact that Joel Embiid, an NBA champion, a Finals MVP, and he also won the league MVP.
So, but you think? Hold on. You think they're beating the Bucks, the Celtics, or the Heat anytime soon?
Well, I heard the same. I heard the same logic about Jason Tatum.
No, but I'm asking you a question. No, I'm asking you. Do you think that set
as of right now, it doesn't. As of today, it doesn't look like that. That could change though.
I'm saying it would have to change in your mind from what you said because of Embiid, because of what he does. Right. So I'm saying you think Embiid can take it to another level?
But wasn't Embiid hurt though?
I don't think he's gonna be healthy.
No. He was healthy. When he was healthy, he was playing like trash at the end of the series.
But even with him being hurt, let's go back to what Ticket was talking about. Do I think he could take it to another level? Well, he did take it to another level this season. I think he had a career year this year. So with that, that's my point. So I haven't seen him do that. That doesn't mean that he can't do it, which means that maybe he can.
But every single year his averages go down almost 9 or 10 points in the playoffs.
9 or 10, that's not true, Ticket. That was just this season they did that.
No, it wasn't. That was the other season too. Look it up. That was the other season too. Look it up.
Let's not jump the gun.
Ask Mars. It was the other season too. Look it up.
So we're talking about a guy. So we're talking about a guy in Joel. So we're talking about a guy in Joel Embiid who his average drops 10 points in the playoffs every year he's in the playoffs.
Go back and look last year. He averaged 30 last year too, right?
I'm going.
He averaged 30 last year.
I'm not a stat guy. I'm not.
He averaged 30. Didn't he average 30 plus last year too?
He averaged 33 a game.
Now go look at what he averaged in the playoffs.
I think he averaged 24 a game in the playoffs, and
that's almost a 7-8 point drop.
Which goes back to my original question, which is this season. And Joel Embiid, I'd like to think, has been in the playoffs more than one season. So he's been in the playoffs more than one season. That would mean that all of the seasons, which you just mentioned, he has dropped 9 or 10 points. Why are we holding on to a guy whose playoff average drops almost 10 points every year? Why are we holding on to that guy, Ticket?
They're stuck.
No, they're not stuck.
They made a bad move against James Harden. They had to hold on. They have to justify moving on from Ben Simmons because they blamed it on Ben Simmons first. Then Ben Simmons is laughing at you when you get smoked in the playoffs. So you blamed it on Ben, got him out of there, went and got James Harden. James Harden backfires on you, but at least he did get you 2 games. So now you're looking at Joel Embiid saying, well, dog, you said y'all was laughing, basically saying it was Ben. And that Ben was out here. You celebrating when you got a Harden, but then you don't do nothing. Both years, your production goes down. If you look at every year in the playoffs of Joel Embiid's production, his production in the playoffs is down from the regular season production. So that's why I think he lost the most. And same thing with Donovan Mitchell. You get to the playoffs and you perform like that. You go to the Garden and perform like that in the Garden.
Right. And he wasn't very good. No, he wasn't very good. And I can appreciate that.
This season, I'm saying I ain't talking about for his career. I'm saying this season. To me, those 2 guys lost because you won the MVP. So you won the MVP, but you play like crap in the playoffs. And we don't use injuries as an excuse because Giannis got injured, came back, and still averaged 38 and almost 15 rebounds those last couple games in that series. He averaged like 35 and whatever. So
we get your thinking caps on. You all need to come up with like 2 names. All right, for this one. You ready? Here we go. If everyone in the league was in their prime, what would be the top 10? I've seen a list of LeBron, Giannis, Steph, Kawhi, Jokic, Durant, Harden, Rose. Hey, thanks. 1 letter off. Rose, Embiid, AD. I agree. So, Mars, I'm just going to go through and ask you who's number 1. Everybody LeBron. In their prime.
LeBron.
Chill.
He doesn't. I don't think he has.
Who's number 2?
He has LeBron number 1. He's right.
Oh, he does have. I'm sorry.
Yeah, LeBron
Brown 1. That's no question. Brown 1.
Everybody and
everybody in their prime. Everyone in it doesn't have to be from this list. Everybody who's currently in the NBA in their prime. So LeBron's 1. Who's 2?
Giannis.
Ticket.
Leonard.
Giannis is 1.
Hold on. Ticket. Who's 3?
Huh? I got Giannis is 1. I got
3.
Hold on, I'm about to tell you right now. I got Giannis is 1. I got Jokic is 2 and LeBron is 3.
At that
nuts.
Okay, so hold on. Here's the reason why I said it though. Here's the reason why I said it. I got Giannis. Hold on. I got Giannis is 1 because I seen Giannis take his own team and go win an NBA Finals. He got to go form a super team.
I'm with you a lot of times. Then you lose me when you start. I'm riding with you. Start this stuff right here. Then you lose me, man. You do.
That means something, bro. Time out. That means That means something to me that Giannis and Joke to lead their own teams to win the chip. Because guess what? Melo went to Denver. Melo went to Denver, had good teams. What did he do? He couldn't get to the finals to win the championship.
He's nothing.
Who's his back?
Who's at 4?
Who's at 4? I would have to say in their prime. I would have to say
Lamont. Everyone's getting 1.
Oh, okay,
so wait. If that's true, then that means Steph at the top of it. Steph is at the top of the
2015
at the top of this thing.
Hold on. Who do we have?
He led his own team to the NBA championship.
Can we get to number 4? Can we get to number 4?
I had a third, sir.
We have LeBron, Giannis, and Jokic.
I mean, I don't know how Giannis got up so high, but you got to put Steph Curry there. I mean, he should have been higher than me, but you got to put Steph right there.
Steph at 4, SB.
KD at 5.
That's wrong. Sturdy.
Kawhi.
Hold on, he had KD over Kawhi.
No. SB got.
Hold on, you got KD over Kawhi.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Hold on, but KD has been bro. Hold on.
It's okay.
First of all, KD hadn't proven anything outside of Steph Curry.
You're absolutely correct, and we'll get to that in our rebuttals. Number seven is back to Mars.
Who hasn't been said yet?
So we have LeBron, Giannis.
James
Jokic,
is off the board. Giannis is off the board.
KD, Kawhi.
Off the board. Leonard, KD.
James Harden.
Harden on there.
Harden?
James Harden. Yeah.
You have Harden as the 7th best player currently in the NBA in their prime. Okay.
Oh, wait. Anthony Davis. Sorry, my bad.
That's where I was going to go.
There we go. Anthony Davis.
Totally disagree.
We'll go back. Anthony Davis. Okay, hold on. No problem. Chill.
Who's left?
LeBron. Here's what we got. I'll just repeat it. What do you think? LeBron, Giannis, Jokic, Steph, KD, Kawhi, Davis.
Go ahead, put D Rose in there.
Oh my Jesus. Okay.
That's why you're not getting another pick, SB.
Yep.
Who you got?
To be honest,
Rose
should be on this.
Don't cap, chill. Don't cap, Rose.
You don't have to
Mike Rose might be.
Chill. Disgusting, chill. You're disgusting.
Wait. Any player in the NBA. So you could pick Paul George. You could pick Derrick Rose if you're crazy. I think
Westbrook should go over Rose.
Yeah, you pick Westbrook.
Absolutely. Westbrook goes over Rose.
Has nobody said Jokic yet?
Jokic is number
3. Okay.
So who going there?
Y'all said Russ over Rose?
You got Westbrook?
Yes.
Is that your pick? Okay, Westbrook.
Hold on, man.
Hold on. Who's next? Take it at your.
Yeah, hey man, you got to listen. I don't like James Harden, but you got to go to prime. He said prime, right? Got to go to prime James Harden because a prime James Harden did more than D Rose.
He said Mark said Harden.
No, I'm saying a prime James Harden went to the conference finals.
Do you remember who the Miami Heat beat? Do you remember who the Miami Heat beat to go to the NBA championship? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
No. You're not hearing what I'm saying, though. I'm saying
you just said the conference championship.
You're not hearing what I'm saying. No, I said over D Rose. I said over D Rose. I'm saying Harden.
I hope you're thinking of a good number.
Prime 10. Harden led his team further than D Rose did.
How
do you figure that? Same space. It was the same spot.
Do you remember who the Heat beat in 2011 to get to the NBA championship?
How many games did they beat them in?
They beat them in 5 games.
Yeah, Harden won 7 games. Exactly. Harden won 7 games in the conference finals.
Oh, so because they went further.
Yeah.
Even though in that series, James Harden had an 0-for-11 game.
I went to
the fact that in Game 7, James Harden and that Houston Rockets team
let
27 straight threes.
And then we're going to debate it. Yeah, let him
do 10. When it's that close, brother.
We're going to debate it in a second. Lamont, who's at number 10?
Do we have Tatum yet?
We do not have Jason Tatum.
Yeah, I'll put Tatum there.
All right. I'm just I'm going to recap the list. I'm going to recap the list, and then we're going to go in reverse order. So, Sturdy, you're going to start first with which one you disagree with most, if any. So here's the list. At number 1.
Okay.
So this is what it is. Top 10 current players in their prime. What would the top 10 look like if all the current players were all in their prime? You guys selected. Not me. You guys. LeBron at 1. Giannis at 2. Jokic at 3. Steph at 4. KD at 5, ? Kawhi at 6, Anthony Davis at 7, Russell Westbrook at 8, James Harden at 9, Jason Tatum at 10. Sturdy. Is there one that sticks out to you like you're crazy? They're either too high or they shouldn't even be on the list.
Tatum. I don't know why Tatum made the list. To be honest with you.
Who would you replace
Westbrook
Tatum with?
You put Westbrook. You put AD. You
Those
put
guys are
Chris.
there.
I'll put Chris Paul. I'll put Chris Paul above Tatum. To be honest with you, like, and we just talking about prime, like
in their prime. Okay, SB, you heard the list. You need me to repeat it, or you got it?
Repeat it again, because I want you to just scowl at my KD pick again. But go ahead.
Okay, LeBron, Giannis, Jokic, Steph. KD's not even top 5. Anyways, Kawhi, Davis, Westbrook, Harden, Tatum.
No, I think it's pretty cool. I think Steph probably be a little bit higher, but I'm cool with it.
Steph should be higher. Okay.
Yeah.
Lamont.
I would take AD out, Embiid in, and I would definitely get Steph a little higher at maybe the 2 spot. He could be right up there with James. I think Steph Curry and LeBron easily need to be 1 and 2 primes, and then you can go down from there.
Ticket. Which one do you? Which
I disagree,
one? Do you have
disagree with my boy Lamont, but you already know LeBron, Ramon James. This is easy. LeBron James should not be number 1. He shouldn't, because he had to go to a super team in order to win. If he's so great, if he was so great,
so did Larry Bird and Magic and Kareem.
No. They didn't have to go to no super team to win. They didn't have to go for one.
Right, the team was built around him. You're right.
Let's not do that, Lamont.
Ticket.
Took your ass, easy work.
LeBron all time.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Say it again, Tone.
Where do
I told you. Hold on. I would have replaced. I told you I would have had Giannis 1. Then I would have had
great job.
Jokic 2.
Where do you have LeBron
3,
all time?
Jokic 2, Steph 3, LeBron 4.
Where do you have LeBron all time?
All time right now?
Yeah.
Oh, I got him. I got him top 6.
Okay. Is there anybody on this list that you have over him on your all-time list?
Nah, because their career's not over with, so I can't judge them like you do.
Okay.
Yeah, you try to play that game with me. You try to play that game with me. I cooked your ass. I cooked your ass. I cooked your ass, Floyd. I cooked your ass. You try to play with me, and you got cooked. Yeah, use your own terminology against you. Gotta wait till their career's over, baby.
Ticket standing right around the corner. See the Tone coming. He's standing right around the corner with he sees Tone coming. He's standing right at the corner like, here he come. I see him.
He telegraphed that.
You don't think I see him, but I see him.
Brought you up. I'm not going to knock you down. Jay, who you got? Or is there any issues with the list?
No.
All right. Mars.
Steph is number 2.
Steph is not. That's the only. Everything else is good.
I would probably.
That's my biggest grievance. Steph is number 2.
I would move Steph up a little bit higher.
Hey, let me ask y'all this question: if you gave Giannis the same amount of help throughout his whole career that LeBron and Steph has had, how many chips y'all think he'd have?
0.
What?
The whole league isn't getting injured every other year, so 0.
What? I missed. I might have.
No. I'm saying
Giannis only wins ring when the whole. I heard you. Giannis only wins ring when the whole league is injured. So
the whole league wasn't injured.
By that logic, Mars, you gotta take 2 rings. You gotta take 2. You gotta take 2 rings from Steph.
Yeah, I do.
Actually, technically 3.
Take them all. I don't care. Take them.
While we stopping with we got to take the ring from Jay in 91 because James Worthy. We got to take that ring from Isaiah Thomas because Magic got hurt. We got to take that.
You got to take that. Yeah, you got to take that ring. Somebody take that ring from Magic because Isaiah got hurt as well.
Yeah, we got to take that ring.
The Raptors never won.
Yeah, we got to take that 88 ring away from Magic because Isaiah got hurt.
You're killing the city of Toronto.
This is a definite. This is we got to take that ring from Toronto.
Nobody got rings. Everybody hurt.
Giannis can't win unless every single team is injured. So congratulations to him.
But every single team is injured going into the. Nobody's really 100%.
But they're not as injured as the teams Giannis is going against.
Wait. Is there ever a situation? Is there ever a situation where a team has faced 4 because you have to play 4 a series, 4 healthy teams to win a title?
Not that I can think of the top.
Because technically, Mars, what you're saying is no one has ever won a title.
Yes, that's what he said.
I think the Bulls did it in '96. I think the Bulls did it
in 92 too.
I also don't think there's ever a situation where a team's played 4 unhealthy teams to win a title either. So shout out to Giannis.
Except for Giannis.
Yeah, good.
Miami.
Well,
Four.
here's the Ether of Mars. Here's the Ether of Mars.
Every single team.
Hold on. Here's the Ether of Mars. Giannis was hurt, nigga. So be quiet.
Yes.
Giannis was hurt. So you done. You're done, son. You're done, son. Giannis was hurt. Giannis was hurt.
That doesn't prove anything.
Giannis was hurt and won a chip. You're done, son.
That doesn't change the fact that every team he played was injured.
But he was hurt with him. You cook.
He was injured too. Does that even it out?
No, it doesn't. Because he won, so his ring don't count. If the Suns won, guess what? Their ring don't count either because Giannis was hurt. It doesn't count.
Oh my god.
Fair. All right. So is Jimmy a Hall of Famer with MIP and playoff moments?
Well, yeah, he's a Hall of
I mean,
Famer
if T-Mac Grant Hill made it, yeah. So yeah.
Well, since they put everybody else in, why not?
Yeah,
First
T-Mac
ballot
and
Hall of
Grant
Fame,
Hill
man.
made
First
everybody
ballot.
Hall of Famers. Chris
First
Webber
ballot.
and all those guys made everybody Hall of Famers.
Yep.
Cut it out. Cut it out. Chris Webber.
And it's not the NBA Hall of Fame; it's the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Lamar, you don't think Chris Webber should have been a Hall of Famer?
Bill Bradley made everybody a Hall of Famer.
Not a Hall of Famer. Chris Webber's not a Hall of Famer. He shouldn't be. I don't think he did enough in college to elevate his career. His NBA career was good. I wouldn't say it was Hall of Fame great.
Right.
So
let's rewind real quickly. So his last he played 2 years of college, which was 50% of the time, which is his sophomore year. He was the best player in the country.
Yeah.
In Division I basketball, Chris Webber was the best player in the country. Okay. How many guys can say that? Not many. Chris Webber was the best player in the country. And he was the best freshman in the country the year before that.
Jimmy Fredette can say it.
That's okay.
JJ Redick can say it.
You know what Jimmy Fredette can't say? Jimmy Fredette can't say that he was an all-pro in the NBA. He can't say that. He can't say that he was an all-star in the NBA.
I know,
he can't say that.
But just being an all-star in the NBA
he can't say that he's one of 5 guys in NBA history to average 20, 10, and 5 for his career. He can't say that.
Chitchat, he was a perennial all-star, a perennial all-NBA player, a rookie of the year. He was an all-rookie team, and he was a rebounding champ in the NBA. And he averaged 20 and 10 almost for his entire career. He averaged 20 points and 9 rebounds.
When did y'all start just judging players just off stats? What happened to all?
No, we didn't do stats. We gave you accolades too. We gave you accolades.
Stats and accolades, the deadly combination.
But that's what gets you in the hall. Your accolades and your stats.
Didn't he come up short? Didn't he choke in the front club? Like how y'all judge all these other players?
No, but that's not
every player that's in the Hall of Fame did not win the NBA championship.
If you look at Grant Hill Hill's in the Hall of Fame.
I don't think Grant Hill should be in first round. I don't.
That's what I said. I said
he was in the finals.
I don't think Tracy should be in. I think the NBA watered its own Hall of Fame down by putting too many guys in.
Why is Grant Hill not a Hall of Famer?
I think Grant Hill, ton in college, great college player. I just don't feel like he had a run in the NBA with the Pistons where that might have been his best. I just don't think he did enough in the NBA for me to consider him a Hall of Famer. But the Hall of Fame.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Basketball Hall of Fame in the U.S.
I agree with you.
The Basketball Hall of Fame is kind of watered down because we put too many guys in. These are great players, but I think the Hall of Fame should be an elite class.
I believe over the.
Hold on.
I don't know if Webber's an elite class.
The number's not high.
Grant Hill had 8 years in the league where he almost averaged 20 a game. He's a 7-time NBA. He's a 7-time NBA. He's a 7-time NBA All-Star. 5-time All-NBA, Rookie of the Year, All-Rookie team, and that's not enough to get you in the Hall of Fame?
Wait, this might be for coming with you, but you could be the same guy that say Draymond Green not a Hall of Famer though.
No, I'm saying hold on. Draymond Green's averaging a triple single. I'm talking about Grant Hill. When you look at him, Grant Hill was an all-world player in coming out of school. Then you look at Grant Hill coming from Duke to the NBA. Before the injuries, we could have been. I'll be honest with you. We may have been talking Grant Hill's one of the greatest players ever played the game of basketball. He never got hurt.
Yeah,
from 94 to 99.
No, but I still gave you a 7-year stretch. Right. I still gave you a 7-year stretch where Grant Hill was still dominant. I still gave you a 7.
Y'all just got through saying that a 4 or 5 year stretch ain't enough to really.
No, I gave you a 7 year. I gave you a 7-year stretch. I gave you a 7-year stretch. I didn't give you 5. I gave you 7. He was a 7-time NBA All-Star too. So I give you a 7-year stretch.
Baseline for being a Hall of Famer just putting up good stats. We can't contextualize.
I didn't say good stats. I gave you the accolades too. I gave you the accolades too.
Say that again, Tom.
I know you know this. How many? Because we talked about this
in the 75-year history of the NBA. I believe it's only 160 players from the NBA.
160 out of 5,000 are in the Hall of Fame. So it is pretty exclusive.
Prestigious. Yes. It's a pretty
I still think that's probably 2 times too many, but anyways, it should be half of that. But okay.
Like 160 or something like that. Like 100.
But they're still putting the wrong guys into like how was Ben Wallace?
So Lamont, should Tim Hardaway be a Hall of Famer? Should Tim Hardaway in your mind be a Hall of Famer?
Hold on. Take it. Ben Wallace
Tyrese Halliburton.
Ben Wallace in the Hall of Fame.
Ben Wallace what? Go ahead, Lamont.
Is he in there?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's in the Hall.
I didn't know. When did he get? He must have just got in.
Last season.
Yeah, he just got.
Okay.
He got it the other year. Only undrafted player in NBA history.
Another guy, but I thought Chauncey Billups should have went in with him too. They should have went in together.
Wow, what did Chauncey
I feel like
what did Chauncey do?
Billups run.
Hold on. What did Chauncey do? Ben won 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards, almost 5. So it's only a couple other big men that did that, and that is Dikembe Mutombo, who's a Hall of Famer.
4 of them.
That's Dwight Howard, who's a Hall of Famer,
Dwight
and also I'm saying, yeah, he got 3. Oh, he don't even got 4. He don't even got 4. So it's him.
Y'all water it down.
It's just them two. It's just the
Hold on, how is that watered down when you're one of the only in NBA history?
Just go off of if we use this criteria of just running with stats again, that opens the door for Kevin.
We're not running with stats though. His impact on the game.
Hold on. What I'm saying is, all these guys that y'all say stat pad and just put up numbers and don't do a ton of extras with it, that's gonna open the door for the DeMar DeRozans. Any guy that could put up 20 and have maybe in this era where you guys say they have elevated stats and rebound numbers, right? If you just put up good stats and you just be average on an average team for a long time, you make the Hall of Fame. So now you open
Bradley Beal,
Mars, a whole bunch of guys get in. Mars?
I don't hold on. Nobody on here ever said that we thought that DeMar DeRozan was a Hall of Famer. Nobody. Only person that said that they thought Bradley Beal was a Hall of Famer was KD.
Multi-time All-Star, right?
Right.
Consistently averages 20 points.
You said 20 years for like 8 years.
But here's the difference though. The difference is that there's a separator, Lamont, and the separator is winning and going a little bit further. Now everybody. Now don't get me wrong. Everybody
didn't win nothing.
Now don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Everybody that's in the Hall of Fame did not win an NBA championship, but everybody that's in the Hall of Fame didn't just stat pad neither. It did lead to something. I mean, the Sacramento Kings.
Tracy McGrady was already
Tracy McGrady.
And I don't agree with that. The fact that Tracy McGrady was a first ballot Hall of Famer and Dominique Wilkins was not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I have a huge problem with that.
Now we can agree on that.
I got a huge problem with that.
However, but he's in there. So
a lot of people shouldn't be first ballot.
I got a problem with that. However, when we talking about guys being in the Hall of Fame, there are different levels of it. It's not just a dude that's averaging 20 a game and he was an All-Pro once. Now he's an now that makes him a Hall of Famer. Well, what else did you do in the process of that? Were you impactful? Not just impactful. Did you dominate? So that 20 a game, that was only maybe, let's say, 3 seasons. Well, a guy like Bradley Beal, don't get me wrong, he did have a couple of 30-point seasons, but how impactful was Bradley Beal in terms of being a Hall of Famer? There are guys in the Hall of Fame that I don't think should be in the Hall of Fame.
Can you tell me how impactful was Mitch Richmond?
Hold on, let's get Lamont. Let's answer that. He only said that about
than DeMar DeRozan.
Hold on, Lamont. He only said that about T-Mac because T-Mac played 5 more years than what he should have played. If T-Mac would have retired when he retired, T-Mac's numbers would have been out of this world, bro. T-Mac had a stretch in the NBA. And hold on, I'm gonna say this. T-Mac had a stretch in the NBA from his 4th year on where he averaged 26.8, 25.6, 32.1. 28, 25.7. Hold on, but listen to what I'm saying. Hold on. But Fluent. I'm adding Fluent, but I'm adding context to it. He was a 7-time All-Star, a 7-time All-NBA performer. See, that's what it is right there. Is that he wasn't put up the numbers? He was All NBA those years too. Is what I'm saying. So because let me give you an example. You just said what you said about. Hold on, but listen. He just said about DeMar DeRozan, right? How many of those years DeMar DeRozan been putting up numbers? He been All NBA performer. He just made first team All NBA last year? All NBA last season?
But his team are in the playoffs than Tracy.
I'm saying I'm with you, Fluent. I feel what you're saying. I'm just saying, how many times was DeRozan out of all those years he's been averaging these numbers right now? How many times was he an All NBA performer? DeMar DeRozan got 3 All NBA teams. T-Mac had 7.
Now to get back to that, that's fair. That's fair. To get Lamont, understand something. When you're talking about Mitch Richmond, who was in a 2-guard heavy league with some of the best 2 guards in NBA history, he did have a 7-year stretch where he averaged 26 a game. Yes, absolutely. With
Jordan?
Drexler, Jordan, Mitch Richmond, absolutely. Joe Dumars. We talking about really good two guards, some of the best two guards in NBA history. Now, with that being said, Mitch Richmond, I would not put Mitch Richmond up against DeMar DeRozan because he was a better player than DeMar DeRozan, 100%. Nice. And on top of that, don't get me wrong, Toronto was an extent, not extension.
Watch your mouth.
What's the word I'm thinking about? So Toronto was an expansion. That's what I'm thinking about. Toronto was an expansion franchise, but the Sacramento Kings were a doormat, and he did have them in the playoffs, 100%. And he was an Olympian.
So with all of that being said, we got to move on because we got a lot of super chats and we're running out of time. All right, best, and we're going to move into current NBA, or I guess next year. What player? Drink more water wants to know what player is best suited to guard, with the exception of the training staff, to guard Victor Wembanyama now.
Jaden McDaniels.
Anybody with weight and size.
I mean, look how everybody been hyping.
They're gonna put wings on him. They're gonna guard him with wings. That's what
Aaron Gordon. There you go. He had a great playoff push. So
Aaron Gordon.
Anybody with size. Anybody.
Here's the only problem with that, and I agree with Lamont saying, but here's the only problem with that. Pop is so good of a coach, he's gonna put the boy in good position to score the basketball. He's not gonna have him out there going between the legs 30 times and give you opportunities to come pluck him. Pop is gonna put him in positions where he's coming across, catching, going up quick. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing I like about him being with the Spurs. I don't think it's going. You know what I'm saying? It's going.
Are we factoring in ticket though? Because you know the dangerous factor here is that will he even players? What's the hardest thing players have done with Pop 6? It's adjusting to his system of moving the ball quick, sacrificing your numbers for the betterment of the team. As a young player,
remember, he changed up though. He let Kawhi get off before Kawhi was leaving. Kawhi was averaging like 26, so he kind of changed that up. Remember, like you saw Kawhi before Kawhi left, he was averaging 26.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta see it. I gotta see it.
Tyler Hero, Prodigy saying Tyler Hero when we were talking about the Heat. Tyler Hero was the second star, but he was hurt.
Yeah,
so I guess
Hero ain't no star. Tyler Hero ain't a star fluent. Tyler Hero got a star.
I'm just reading the super chat.
Hey, that's crazy.
He wasn't over Bam though.
All right, no, he's not over Bam. No, he's not over Bam. Maybe offensive. All right, Black has a start bench cut. VP, Nash, Kidd. So Gary Payton, Steve Nash, Jason Kidd. Chill conversation. I don't know what that. Who you got?
Start Jason Kidd. Gary Payton was better than Steve Nash. I think he was. I think he was a better player than Steve Nash. Start Jason Kidd, bench Steve Nash, cut GP.
You just said
GP was better.
You just said GP was better.
Oh, then you were scared to do it. I'll do it. We start Jason Kidd.
Start Jason Steve Nash. Start Jason Kidd. Bench. Start Jason Kidd. Bench Jason Kidd. Start Jason Kidd. Bench GP. Cut Steve Nash.
Mars.
I'm never cutting Steve Nash.
Start Steve Nash. Bench Jason Kidd. Cut Gary Payton.
You international.
Wow.
You're international. You're gonna pick Nash, of course.
Whatever your name is, you suck with this question. I hate you for asking this question, B. I'm not asking. I for real hate you for asking this question.
I think that's a good question.
I hate you for asking this question because what these dudes do is they try to put people on the spot and try to make them trip themselves up. I hate you for asking this question. I really do. I don't dislike you. I hate you for asking this question. I do. If I saw you, I'd punch you in your face, for real. I hate you for asking this question.
I thought it was a good question.
I hate questions like that.
Out of you is
chill, but that's not hard. Chill, that's not hard.
It's not. It's really not.
You start J Kidd. You start J Kidd. You bench Gary Payton and you cut Steve Nash.
Which is what I did, but I just hate questions like this because we've gone over this, and what he's doing is he asking the question over and over again to see if he could trip somebody up. That's why I hate questions like this. Like if I saw you, I'd punch you in the face. I hate this guy.
Focus, chill.
Accolades, he never led the team to the finals, bro.
Facts. All right. Next super chat. We got exclusive excellence. Jordan gambled a lot on passing lanes, blocks, golf games, cards.
He gambled on and off the court. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's what you
do when you're a great defender, bro. You gamble. When you're a great defender,
you gamble on the golf course?
No,
you gamble on the golf course? That makes you a great defender?
No great defenders don't gamble.
No, it was no reason for Tony to bring that up.
Oh, yes, they do, Lamont. Yes, they do. Great defenders gamble a lot on steals. They gamble a lot on possession.
I don't know about that one. I think that's why people like Steph Curry and Allen Iverson can lead the league in steals. Because
no, I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about with George
defenders that held the fort down while they picked up.
Kawhi gambles a lot.
You know, no, but
you have to gamble a little.
You
can't
we know
that Kawhi gambles.
Horrible defender off ball.
Yeah.
Kawhi gambles for steals a lot, and so does Paul George. Those guys who are elite perimeter.
George.
Good
defenders don't gamble a ton. No, they.
So does Tony Allen. All those guys gamble a lot, bro. I watch those guys.
They sat in front of you and made
no.
mistakes.
I'm saying they gamble. I'm talking about
let you make the mistakes.
But you're not. Hold on, but
Lamont going to wait till you get out of position and gamble, and that's when they cook.
But you're not. Hold on, but you're not leading. You're not
the hardest
people
to score on are the people that stay solid and don't gamble.
You're not one of the leaders in steals.
Cook you offensively.
You're not topping the league steals in certain years if you're not gambling, bro. You're gambling a lot of those steals, bro.
Leading the league in steals doesn't mean you're the best defender.
No, I'm saying if you're one of the leaders in the league in steals, you're gambling for a lot of steals. You might not got a lot, but you might have got a lot.
And it depends on your position.
Jaw has the most. I don't know if that's true. Jaw has the most important question of the day.
No, he's not making.
That's for 100.
Hey, I played with his father, man. Me and his father played pro ball together. He that's the kid with one arm.
Yeah.
Was that who that is?
Yeah. No, he's not.
That's not Handsome Man was a kid with one arm.
I was surprised he got in the transfer portal.
No one thinks someone's going to give him a shot.
No.
Tone, can we be honest for a second, man? He got one arm, Tone. Come on, man.
Yeah, they're playing professional basketball. They might, but Tone, here's the thing, though, Tone. They might. It depends on how he pans out in school. See what I'm saying?
No, he
already did bad his first year.
For what he's done up to right now is phenomenal, Tone. For what he's done up to right now has been completely phenomenal. That kid's been able to get through this much of basketball and play. Because I've watched him play. This kid all over the place, bro.
He can play. Oh, 100%.
That's great. But you ain't playing in the NBA with one arm.
He can absolutely play. 100%.
Give him all the credit he deserves for how good he is and how he's making the most of this situation.
I just think if you're gonna have a female coach one day, you're gonna start seeing other stuff in the league someday.
Don't
act like we haven't seen a midget. We've seen a midget, Spud Webb. We've seen a midget before.
Wasn't a midget, bro.
We have seen midgets in the NBA. What are you talking about? We seen Muggsy Bogues. He's a midget.
They had 2 arms though.
Earl Boynton.
Those are midgets though.
They're not. Ticket.
They're not midgets.
Muggsy Bogues ain't no midget.
They're short kings. That's what they are.
No, hold on. Muggsy Bogues ain't a midget.
No, bro.
You a lie. Hey, Tony, you go stand beside Muggsy Bogues right now.
Ticket. Do you know what the average height of an American male was when Muggsy Bogues played in the league? It was 5'5", 5'6".
You go stand beside Muggsy right now, man. Muggsy don't even come up to your underwear, bro. Cut it out, man.
Next super chat from Bunka. Did y'all see Jalen Rose's top 5 handles? IT, Kyrie, AI, Crawford, and Curry. What's your thoughts? I think Harden's handles deserve to be there as well.
Kenny Anderson
AI.
Needs to be on that list.
I like the AI's list, but
it's not a bad list.
That's a good list.
Is that a good list? We all good?
Yeah.
We all good.
Shout out to Penny Hardaway. He should get some love. Penny and Timmy. Both Hardaway.
Put Rayford Austin in there. Put Rayford Austin in there. Maybe.
Chris Paul should get some love too. People forget.
Kenny Anderson. Before I saw Kyrie Irving, Kenny Anderson, the best ball handler I ever seen.
Not Pete Maravich.
You ain't see Bob Cousy, I guess. That's cool.
No.
Cousy was fire, bro. What about Curly Neal?
Kenny Anderson.
So the hardwood Houdini just gets no love. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Bob Cousy was incredible, 100%.
Only having one hand.
Bob Cousy was incredible.
See, Bob Cousy played with only one hand. Nick, Tri-States. Bigger what if? Kobe winning the 08 chip and having 2 separate three-peats with and without Shaq? Or if Ray Allen misses that shot, Duncan 6-0 in the finals?
So number one.
What's the bigger what if? What's the bigger what if?
Definitely Kobe, because there's no guarantee that the Spurs win the NBA championship the next year.
Mm-hmm.
But with Kobe winning it in 08 and them winning it the next 2 years, we having a way different conversation about him. If Bynum's not hurt
and Ariza's not hurt that series. That series looks they won 6 games in that series. That series looks different because KG and them beat up Pau Gasol that series. They needed Bynum that year, and Bynum just couldn't go. But then when Bynum came back and could play the next year, they won. Yeah, so I do think that if Kobe and them had big Andrew Bynum and then Ariza, he was big for them at that time too on the wing. I do think that.
Kobe with 2 3-peats would be ridiculous. I ain't gonna lie.
Kobe with 2 3-peats is over MJ.
This is my facts. This is my new favorite question. Michael Beasley beat Larry Bird 1-on-1.
Yes,
he beat LeBron. He beat LeBron James.
He would beat Larry Bird 1-on-1.
I think he would. Beasley a dog.
Cut it out, Mars, man. Come on, man.
Y'all got to realize 1-on-1 is a
mean you're a
completely
better
different
player.
game.
Like Michael Beasley 1-on-1 beats 99% of
Mars,
NBA.
but I'm saying, Mars, you can look at it, Mars. You can look at a guy. Let me give you an example. You can look at a guy like Austin Reeves and think you can beat him 1-on-1, and he gets you on the court and wear your ass out, man. It ain't always about look. Y'all looking at Larry Bird. Y'all looking at Larry Bird.
Larry Bird's white. That's dumb.
But you looking at Larry Bird because he a white boy and unathletic. I said he
could beat LeBron. What are you talking about? I said he could beat LeBron.
But you don't think he can beat Mike Beasley?
Because Michael Beasley beat LeBron. What are we talking about? Michael Beasley is better 1-on-1 than LeBron James. It's not. If Michael Beasley was white, I'd say the same thing. I don't care what color he is.
Michael Beasley said it.
Michael Beasley 1-on-1 is killing 99% of NBA history.
Beasley 1-on-1
white, black, yellow, green. I don't care. He's better than them. Like, I don't care about his race.
Michael Beasley said
1-on-1 though.
Yeah,
he said, "Quote."
Because you're looking at it that way, don't mean I am.
Hey, I got any amount of money. He ain't walking through no Larry Bird.
What did Michael Beasley say, Chill?
Michael Beasley said, "Quote: I'm your favorite player's favorite player."
1-on-1, I'm taking Michael Beasley against damn near anyone. The only guys I might take
I like B Easy, man, but he ain't y'all disrespecting Larry Bird, man. Y'all sad, man.
Drink more water chiming in. He likes the Lauri Markkanen and Brunson gained the most from the stock this year. I think Brunson for sure, because when Brunson signed with the Knicks, everybody said too much money. And now, that's a steal.
Well, wait a minute, Tone. Rewind the clock.
I actually said it was good for him.
Well, rewind the clock. I thought that the Utah Jazz were going to be Detroit. I thought they were going to be garbage. I thought they were absolutely going to be trash. And I thought that the most improved player was on the right team, but I thought it was going to be Sexton because I thought they were just going to turn him loose because I thought Utah was going to be terrible.
Yeah, Chill wouldn't let me buy stock in Utah because he.
I was trying to get, because I saw what was going on. I was like, Mars, don't do it.
The rumors about Sexton are true though.
Which is what?
From Cleveland.
He's out of it.
No, the fact they were saying that he struggled at the point guard position because he can't remember an offensive set to save his life.
Yeah, he's a terrorist.
Whoa. Rewind. Lamont, please don't tell me that we're dealing with a dizzy. Don't tell me that, yo.
It might be.
Hey,
at the lead guard, you cannot not be smart at the lead guard.
I'm not saying he's not smart. I'm saying that in Cleveland, they said he struggled with remembering sets. Now that could do the coaching. If you a coach,
right? Okay.
If you have a good guard,
different.
Like sometimes you just gotta dumb down.
Maybe it was the system, slow it down.
But that was a sentiment coming out of Cleveland when he was there as to why they chose Garland over him, because that was a sentiment. I don't know how true it was, but I was hearing it.
We'll find out. Christopher D. If traded, would LaMelo and Zion be a top 10 duo in Charlotte? Only definitive duos I say is better are Drew and Giannis, Jokic Jamal, AD Braun, Harden and Embiid, Luka Kyrie, Brown, Tatum, Jimmy, Bam, Booker, Durant, Steph, Wiggins.
The problem
Steph Wiggins be Steph Clay.
The problem is
you mean Steph and Draymond, to be honest. But
the problem with the Zion and LaMelo thing is they gonna play. Because both of them miss a lot of games all the time. Zion doing windmills, but he don't feel like Zion, so he ain't gonna play. LaMelo Ball ankles is shot, so we don't know when he gonna play. He been injured every year, so it's like, how can you be a top 10 duo? We ain't gonna see you play.
Durant and Beal.
Availability is the best ability. Who's that? What's
Durant and Beal was also better than that, and so is Booker and Bill too. Whatever organization of that Phoenix.
And Brunson and Randall better than them too. Eat it, Mars.
Ooh,
I said Brunson and Randall. I said Brunson and Randall. See,
Brunson and Randall would be better than LaMelo and Zion.
What about in the
playoffs? They say LaMelo's a losing player though, Lamont. They say LaMelo's a losing. His style is a losing style.
No. LaMelo is on a losing
and Randall in the playoffs, Mars.
You put LaMelo on a good team.
Brunson and Barrett better than LaMelo and Zion. Brunson and Barrett.
Hold on. Say that again, Lamont. Say that again, Lamont.
If you put LaMelo in a better organization and a better team, then you could probably judge him fairly. But LaMelo is an elite point guard.
But does he defend? Does he defend?
No, not as good. But you know what he does though? I wouldn't say he's a good defender, but he does what you like. He gambles a shit ton. That's why he damn near.
I didn't say that's what I like. I just said that's what some of the.
Yes.
Say what?
A lot of players defend.
Yes, they do.
LaMelo,
yeah.
Hold on. You said what?
I said, does
anybody defend?
He said, "Does anybody what?
Does anybody defend? Ticket? Does anybody play defense?
Because you said there's no
today in today's game?
Yes.
Not really. Don't only that.
So then it doesn't matter. So LaMelo needs to defend.
No. I'm saying no. I'm just saying though. I'm saying when I say he doesn't defend, I'm talking about I watch him, bro. Like it's like, for example, some guys will fake it, bro. Guys like him and James Harden, they don't even try. Like James Harden will sit there and open up the lane and just let him go by and go to the basket. Like, come on, bro. He ain't even faking like he's trying to play defense, bro. At least a guy like Ben Simmons will get on you. He's trying to move his feet, trying to, you know what I'm saying, lock you up. This guy, these dudes are like turnstiles out there, bro, and it's crazy.
All right, J-Rob's Burner has one for you, Sturdy. This one's for you. Are we going off who's the best or who did the most? Because Luka is the most, definitely better than MVP Rose right now.
Hey, you can say that. I was going to mention you can put Luka replace Tatum, Westbrook replace Tatum, and that's a legit argument. If Luka right now probably better than Derrick Rose at his best.
Well, Derrick Rose lost.
You know what? Look at that. J-Rob's Burner agrees with you. Why is Luka not over Tatum?
All I'm saying is when Derrick Rose lost his people, he still kept.
Luka is better than Tatum. He didn't have a better season than Tatum, but he's a better player.
No, but we're talking about in their prime, that top 10. You guys
Luka's
put Tatum. No one said Luka. No one said Luka.
No, Lamont put Tatum.
Lamont.
I would
Kobe
in there, but it wasn't all one player's list.
Kobe, ain't Ticket the same dude that said Braun was the best in this era over Steph after the Lakers beat Golden State?
I said he was better than Stephen. I said he was. I'm gonna repeat myself. I said he was better than Stephen Curry in this era. He was in this era. He was. But if you telling me, if we, like dude said, when you talking about all time, listen, I'm gonna say it again, bro, and I'm gonna forever say this: those guys did win a championship without having to go and form a super team before they did it. Like Giannis, Jokic, Curry. Curry, I take points down on him because he went and got KD after they won a chip because they lost and they wasn't gonna beat LeBron. See what I'm saying? After that, they wasn't going to beat LeBron and them boys after that. I didn't think they was going to beat them no more. I think they knew that, and that's why they went and got KD. Now, Curry solidified himself now by going to winning the championship the other year. So he solidified all of that. He closed the door on that because people are always going to hold that against him. That has made KD look worse in his standpoint now, especially the way KD been looking the last few years. But, yeah, I mean, I do feel like if you ask me, who had the better era right now? I think it has to be LeBron James based off the fact that LeBron James does have the same amount of championships, but like I said, the Warriors when they got KD, man, when KD was an MVP caliber player.
Ace has a question for you, Mars, or a comment for you. 2015
the rings
Warriors.
Don't count. Yeah, the rings don't count.
That ring does not count because every point guard was hurt in every series.
See, I'm consistent.
Consistent. I like it.
You guys aren't gonna call me out and make me. Oh no, it counts.
Well, LeBron's guys were hurt too when they lost that first time to Steph.
DeRozan has had a more successful NBA career than Grant Hill, just going off stats and accomplishments. Grant Hill made an All-Star when he played 4 games. Come on. The Hall of Fame is definitely watered down.
Not when 95% of the guys don't get in. No, it's not.
Better trash talker, Bird or Ticket? I think he means
definitely,
KG. Or you could say Ticket.
Definitely Bird.
Over
Bird.
KG?
Definitely Bird.
Yeah,
Tone, how many times have I had this conversation with you? Doc punched him in the face. Who is Doc is the most mild-mannered guy in NBA history. He punched Bird in the face. What do you think Bird said to him for him to punch Bird in the face?
I don't want to guess.
KG said that, allegedly said that, but he said he didn't say it. But the thing he said to Melo for a while, that's OD too. So,
but even if that's true, Carmelo Anthony is not as mild-mannered as Doc.
But Melo's waiting on the bus for him too. I'll give you that though. I give you that too though. But
punched him in the face.
If Steph wins another ring before LeBron and KD, is
These
it
dudes
time
want
to
to put
start
Steph?
having those
Want
conversations?
to put Steph over LeBron so bad, yo. These dudes they want to put this dude over James so bad.
And he said Grant Hill's not a Hall of Famer, bro.
And
you got y'all forget college career too. It's not just the pro career; it's a college career for Hall of Fame.
I think 3 of his 4 years he played at Duke. I think he
was a monster. Hey, look, he was a monster. Right. So Marquise Black, brush your teeth, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, yo.
So chill. Would you agree then that the NBA, no, my fault, the Basketball Hall of Fame has the lowest standard out of the major sports then?
Lower standard?
Yeah, it has the lowest standard to make the Hall of Fame than the MLB, than the NFL?
No.
What?
Nah.
Eli Manning is going to make the Eli Manning is going to make the Hall of Fame. You know how many times he made the All-Pro team? And by the way, being an All-Pro in pro football is one of the biggest deals. You know how many times Eli Manning made the All-Pro team? Zero.
I know.
Zero.
I'm in NYC.
And he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. First ballot.
That'd be crazy.
First ballot. I don't know about first ballot.
Yes, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Probably is. Okay. Actually, there's a correction. He meant to say Ticket TV or Larry Bird. Which one?
Larry Bird.
And Ticket could talk that talk, but Ticket ain't getting Doc to punch him in the face though.
You sure?
Nah, because I'm hitting Doc first. So yeah, you're right.
Nah, chill. If you remember the tape, Doc said, "Yo, hold him for me, and let me give him the quick 3-piece." Like premeditated.
I just want to know what Bird said to him. I really want to know.
Hey, hold on. That's a good time for me to ask you. H30, what's your beef for me though? I always
you have one more minute. No, you have one more question, and then you can ask the question. You have one more, because here it is. Rank these defenders in their prime: Kobe, LBJ, MJ.
Kobe,
Mike, Kobe, LeBron. Mike, Kobe, LeBron.
Kobe, MJ, LeBron.
Mike, Kobe,
LeBron, MJ, Kobe. LeBron, MJ, Kobe.
Yeah, I was.
Who said LeBron?
MJ, LeBron, Kobe.
Who said LeBron first?
I said LeBron.
Okay, you're out. Anybody else?
I got MJ, Kobe.
If we going strictly off accolades, it's Jay, Bryant, and then James. But
if you're going off peak, it's LeBron, MJ, Kobe.
I'm going off my eyes.
Yeah, I'm going off my eye test. I'm going off Mike, Kobe, LeBron. That's the eye test right there.
I don't think Bryant was a better defender than James. I do not.
What? Are you crazy?
I do not think he was a better defender than James.
That's absolutely insane. That's insane, brother.
But Chilltown said the only thing Kobe did better than LeBron was shoot free throws.
Insane. You have multiple NBA players say LeBron was not a good one-on-one defender. He's a great team defender, not a good one-on-one defender. You have multiple NBA players that have said that. And then not only that, like I said,
and with that, keep going, Ticket. I'm sorry.
Well, hold on. That sounds like Giannis, but Giannis has he has a top 3 greatest field goal percentage. Actually, has the greatest field goal percentage one-on-one in the last almost 2 decades. As one-on-one defender, as a one-on-one defender, he has held his guy to the lowest field goal percentage one-on-one defender in the last 20 years.
That's not how that stat is measured.
Just so you know, we have because I am a W host, you can put that in the chat. We have concluded the super chat portion of the show.
So
I believe you have an issue.
H30, you always in the comment section like disrespectful.
No. Go ahead. I want to get to this. Go ahead.
I never said nothing to this brother about this brother. I just want to know what his beef is with. I seen him always talking disrespectful. Like I don't even know. I had never heard of him like before. I seen him in the comment section a few times just talking crazy. What's up with that, dog?
Yeah, there ain't no beef. It just honestly Ticket. Like I've been watching PC and supporting PC since episode 6 when Jay and JD was the host. Like I go back that far. So the thing that what brought me and stuck me around with Players' Choice is the fact that everyone had their unique takes and they was able to get it off. I'm not gonna lie, besides today, majority of the time you've been here, it's been hypothetical tangents, interrupting people, and like half the show been just simply them debunking your inconsistent logic. Real talk, like you can have your own opinion, but like that's my only beef with you. The fact that every day is some form of hypothetical, some form of tangent, whining about LeBron. Is like, bro, like at some point, like we got to just stay with the schedule.
Let me ask you a question. What's the hypothetical you talking about? Every day I come here, I say LeBron lost 6 NBA finals. That's not hypothetical. That's fact.
Ticket. Literally every.
I'm saying age 30. No, age 30. Hold on. That's fact. That's factual information I just gave you. That's not hypothetical. Those are facts. When I come in here, I give you factual information. Now I say this. You'll say hypothetical. My hypothetical will be, what if LeBron didn't stack the deck? How many chips would he have won? See, that's the hypothetical that you don't like. But those are the real questions, because we grade other players off of not being able to stack the deck and not winning, but we grade LeBron James off being able to stack the deck and winning championship.
What if Kobe stayed in Italy?
No. Lamont, let him fight one-on-one. Let him fight one-on-one, Lamont. Let him fight one-on-one.
No. So Ticket, let's go off your most recent hypothetical. Literally, you said if Jimmy Butler get the job done this year, he has an argument to have a better Heat career than Dwayne Wade. Are you serious?
That's true. Yes, because Dwayne Wade would have never did what Jimmy Butler did. Hold on. Dwayne Wade would have won a championship with Shaquille O'Neal on the roster. Shaquille O'Neal, who was an MVP candidate just a year before they went to the finals. Jimmy Butler would have came to a team that missed the playoffs, did not go to the playoffs, came and took a team with 7 undrafted players, which is unprecedented, with injuries to one of his key guys, one of the leading scorers in the team, and Tyler Hero, averaging 20 points per game, and having a guy like Victor Oladipo out with injury as well. He would have took that team with an inconsistent Bam Adebayo who fell off in the playoffs. Even though he had a solid NBA Finals, he fell off. His numbers went down from the NBA playoffs versus the NBA regular season. I said if Jimmy pulled that off, went and beat the Bucks, who was the #1 overall team, went and beat the Celtics in Boston in the Game 7 when nobody thought they was going to win that game, right? They went to Boston to beat them, and then you come and you beat the mighty Jokic, who won 2 MVPs. A lot of people thought he should have won the 3rd one this year, and then you go and beat them in the NBA Finals and wrap it up like that without another superstar on the team. Yes, to me that would have Heat Lord. That would have put him past past D Wade, because he would have did something D Wade didn't do as a Miami Heat. He'd have went to 2 NBA Finals in 4 years. He'd have won 1, and he'd have been in 3 conference finals in 4 years. D Wade didn't do that. Only way D Wade did that is because LeBron James came over there with Chris Bosh.
All right, so once again, thank you for confirming that you did. That was a hypothetical. Thank you. And number 2.
Right, no. I agree. Hold on. You're right. You're right. But they asked me, why did I have Jimmy top 5? I had him top 5 before the season. That season, we had an argument on PC. Me, Chill, Fluent, all was on that stream. I told them that I had Jimmy top 5. Low and all those dudes, Mars, told me I was crazy when I said that. That when I had him ranked top 5. They all told me I know what I was talking about. But for some reason, Jimmy he went to the finals again this year. So then that's when I said, well, damn, he's been to 2 finals in 4 years with this Miami Heat team. D Wade, he had to have LeBron James to go to 4 finals. If LeBron James never goes over there, do you think D Wade goes to 4 NBA finals straight?
I think he still has a better Heat career than.
No, I'm asking, do you think D Wade goes to 4 straight NBA finals without LeBron James?
No, but do you think
Jimmy Butler did it with Bam Adebayo. Jimmy Butler did it with Bam Adebayo, a role player. That's all I'm saying.
Let me ask you a question. So you telling me 1 chip surpasses 3 chips? You're telling me what this guy did in 4 years surpassed what D Wade did?
You missed what I said. You missed what I said. You missed. See, that's age 30. You missed my point. I said without LeBron James. I said without LeBron James.
No, you said specifically. If he get the job done this year, he'll be a greater Heat player than Dwayne Wade.
LeBron James. I asked Chilltown. I said without the years he played with LeBron James. I asked Chilltown. That's what I said.
So what year? So you disregarded the fact that Dwayne Wade.
Every other year he played for the Heat except for with LeBron James.
So is you disregarding the year that they made to the conference finals back-to-back years?
Every other year he played with, except for LeBron James. Jimmy did more or less time.
You're disregarding the Heat making back-to-back conference finals with Dwayne Wade before LeBron. You're disregarding the fact that D Wade. Let me finish. You disregard the fact that D Wade led the league in scoring before LeBron. You disregard the fact that D Wade had arguably one of the best 2-way seasons of all time before LeBron. And most importantly, yes, Shaq was there, but everyone knew Shaq was past his prime in 2006. So being that let me finish. Being that made, even without LeBron, Wade has more All-Stars, more All-NBAs, and on top of that, was simply more a better player. So I'm confused. Even without LeBron, how is he that 1 chip?
You easy work. You easy work. You said he was leading the league in scoring and stuff. What did he do that year?
That year they got out of the first round. They eliminated.
Okay. So Jimmy didn't have to do that, and he was taking his team to the NBA Finals from day one.
No, Jimmy got eliminated in the first round.
Playoff. They wasn't in the.
No, Jimmy got spanked in the first round.
They went to the NBA Finals the first year he went there. The first
Jimmy
year.
didn't get spanked in the first round.
Hold on, I'm gonna say. Hold on, bro. Hold on. 3 out of 4 years he was in the conference finals or in the NBA Finals. 2 of those years. Only 1 year he got beat in the first round, and that was it. Every other year he's been in the Final Four in the NBA Finals in 4 years.
And speaking of that, hold on. How did Jimmy play? Wait, how did Dwayne Wade play in the first one? He got eliminated. How did Jimmy play in the first one? He got eliminated.
Hold on. So my point to you is this. Hold on. So my point to you is this: Jimmy was killing when it was time to step up. Jimmy was killing. Jimmy was slaying most of those.
He got eliminated the first
Jimmy just played. Hold on. Jimmy just played.
The first round, he was killing.
Hold on. Listen what I'm saying. I'm saying in the finals this year, and in a couple series, Jimmy did not play Super Saigon Jimmy. But if you look at it overall, Jimmy Butler still was putting up better numbers in the postseason than he was putting up in the regular season, even though he was averaging 20 plus in the regular season. So my whole point was this: Jimmy went to a team that was the non-playoff team, immediately took him to the NBA Finals, and has been in the Final Four every year except for 1 out of 4 years he's been in Miami. Nobody on planet Earth would have told you, and not Chilltown, not Fluent, not Mars, nobody would have told you the year before Jimmy went over there that he would have went to 2 NBA Finals with that team without another superstar on the team. Nobody.
You
Ticket, why are you not telling?
So final point, Sturdy. 1 minute to make your final point because it's almost time.
So once again, even before LeBron, like Ticket once again is not telling y'all when Jimmy did get eliminated first round, he had his worst playoff series of his career. While Dwayne Wade had one of his best. That's a fact. While Dwayne Wade had one of his best.
Beef is the Dwayne Wade thing, or is it something else?
No. He actually specifically what my issue with him is, and there's like I said, there's no beef. My only problem with his is the fact that every single day this dude comes on the panel. We spend like 30 to 20 minutes just debunking his inconsistent logic, his hypotheticals, which he did agree it was a hypothetical, and on top of that, for some strange reason, y'all can be talking about ham and cheese sandwiches. This dude bring up LeBron randomly. I'm like, bro, we can't get through one show. We can't get through one show without mentioning LeBron.
Hey, Sturdy, I was on the show yesterday talking about LeBron. I wasn't on the show. Well, what's the excuse now?
Well, you did. You did talk a lot.
I wasn't on. Hold on, Floyd. I got it right now. I wasn't on the show yesterday, and they brought up LeBron James and was talking about LeBron James. So what's your excuse?
No, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you specifically.
Hey, Sturdy, guess what? Let me say this last thing to you. I'm gonna drop the mic on you, right?
Yeah, drop the mic.
The day I came over here, we had 32,375 subs. 7 months later, we almost had 100 racks. That's not a lot. That's a truth. I have the screenshots. I have the screenshots. Hey, Sturdy. I have the screenshots from the first day I came over here when I came over and debated J. Will and Chilltown. We were all on the same screen together. I have the screenshots. Don't make me do it to you because I sent it to Fluent and make him put it on the screen. Don't make me do it to you. So now we almost at 100,000 subs and counting, sir. Stop playing with me.
That's a testament to the entire PC culture. That's testament to Chill. That's testament to Fluent. That's testament to Mars. That's testament to Dub and everybody else that's contributed to the
Hold on.
Not just you.
I'm not. Hold on. Listen, I acknowledge that.
The truth is,
I acknowledge that from day one. I need to.
Our sponsor, Underdog. That's the reason why we blew up. Shout out to Underdog. Go bet your stuff on Underdog.
No. I'm saying, hold on. I want to say this. I'm saying, bro, we are a great combination. I'm saying with me, Chill, Fluent, Mars, all them dudes, Low, everybody that's on the show, Bob, everybody, all of us together are the greatest combination. That's the fact. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they needed a nigga like me to come over here and set the place on fire. That's a fact. You needed my aspect and my perspective from what was going on. That's a fact. So we're not gonna act like that's not a fact. The same way I say the same thing about Chilltown. I need Chilltown. I need Fluent. You know why? Because Chilltown keep iron sharpen iron. Fluent, iron sharpen iron. Mars, y'all already seen what happened with me and Mars. Same thing with Low.
They smoke you.
All right.
I get it.
So how many players are that can go as good as Giannis? None. This has been the panel brought to you by Underdog. Check us out tomorrow, same time, same whatever. You know what to do.
What at the episode when Chill was yelling for the first time? I first ever seen Chill yell when you was yelling at Tiggy. Yeah, I remember.
Right. Hold on. Chill never turned on. Chill had never turned up until